Hi guys, and we are live for the VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open 2, day number 2. We saw so much action in day number 1 yesterday. I mean, we've even got 2 streams going on because there's just not enough screen space to watch all the games that we want to see. But boy, do we have some banger matchups up ahead in store for you guys. But yeah, it looks like we've got 3 people on the panel today. I'm, of course, your host, as always, Jenny Julie. With me is Raf, as well as this little cutie that he picked up over the weekend in the Philippines during Conquest from Riot themselves. Thank you, Riot, for the Wingman plushies. I like how he's got his own little spot on your desk, like with that little light, just to showcase him, right? Because why not? He deserves it.
Yes, and he's trying to fight the light. Whoa, wingman, relax, relax. He's
He
trying to
is the
fight the light.
light. Come on,
He
come on.
he's the light. Well,
I want him
as you
so bad.
mentioned, you want you mean this one, the one I have on my desk right
Shut
behind
up.
me.
Tell us about the games. Do your job, Raph.
That is my job. Wingman is part of the game, and we did see a gecko pick yesterday on that fracture map with, I believe, it was orangutan versus big scythe, which I thought was a very very interesting pick. But aside from that, in general, just to catch on, or rather, catch people up who missed the stream. Why did you miss the stream? Don't miss it now. Be very upset. SMG did SMG things. They ran 5 controllers for SMG reasons. After that, they decided why not
Uh huh.
4 initiators and the solo harbor. But yes, looking at the brackets here, Jenny, has there been any matches that have, I guess, won your favor over?
I mean, we were trying to recap yesterday's games at the end of day one, and we were just like, every single matchup is just so good, right? There's just so many storylines this time around for this open number two, the SMG speedrun from
Oh
yesterday.
yeah.
And then like Orangutan versus Big Scythe, where Big Scythe nearly made history. I mean, taking one map off of their age-old rivals Orangutan like that, I think was a first for this year. But unfortunately, they weren't able to close out the series. I think RRQ also getting dropped down into the lower bracket by FSS Sapphire. It's also not that much of a shocker considering the Swiss qualifier results where they also did get O2'd. But I mean, just so many good matchups coming in today, and the fact that we're into day two means that two teams will be eliminated from playoffs. I mean, my heart hurts, but it's still super exciting. But going into today's schedule, we do start off with Orang Utan X going off against FS Sapphire, and both of these teams yesterday just coming out of the gate so strong. We expect a pretty good matchup for that one. I'm gonna. I don't know if this is. I mean, it's only leaking the script if I'm right, but I'm kind of feeling a 2-1 to start off the day, and then later on, we've got Points of Authority Blossom going off against the hero KDA, who incidentally are our two new teams that made it out of the Swiss for this time in playoffs. I think the other 6 teams are names and orgs that all of us are very familiar with, so that'll be exciting too.
Which kind of breaks my heart, honestly. That second match, we love all these orgs, we love all these teams, and the newer, I guess, players coming around the block has been starting to grow on us. Especially, Point of Authority. They were very very nice during the interview, and honestly, we still see potential despite the scoreline that they had to suffer through. But again, I feel like the second match is basically a statement too. There can only be one new kid on the block, and I'm not really sure which one that's gonna be or which team that's gonna be. I feel like, though, that no matter where we go, it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a 2-1 either way. I feel like the first one is going to be tightly contested because, again, we know that Orangutan is going to be incredibly sturdy, incredibly gritty. Meanwhile, Sapphire has always proven to be that team that's explosive. They are just very, very quick on the draw.
Yep, and just to recap, you guys, on the series format for this year of the Valorant Game Changers APAC Series 2023, we are in the middle of Stage 1 Open. So we are on Open number 2. Of course, we do have 3 opens throughout this year. Open 1 kind of in March, kind of the little teaser, orgs and teams still kind of finding their footing, but then now is where the crunch time really begins. Open 2 2 this month. July next month, we've got Open 3, last chance qualifiers right after that in August as well, before Stage 3 Elite, where we will qualify that one team into the Global Game Changers Championship towards the end of the year that will be played in Brazil. So, pretty
Ooh.
hefty circuit, pretty hefty prize pool as well on the line for all of these teams and orgs. And I mean, it's just great. Like every year, year on year, we just see Riot just coming in with more and more support for the game changer scene. And it's just so heartwarming.
That is true. And every year, as we've mentioned many times in the past, all the teams are becoming that much more competitive, that much more complete in terms of just getting better at the game. And we see a lot of new faces. So Game Changers is definitely evolving and only getting better as time passes.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for the opening. We'll be back in just a few minutes for a closer look at the teams playing in today's first series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Hi guys, and welcome back. We're almost ready to hop into game, but not before we take a closer look at the lineups of both teams coming into our first series of the day. Of course, it is going to be Orangutan X facing off against FS Sapphire. And just looking at this matchup, just looking at the scores from yesterday, right? FS Sapphire once again with that dominating 2-0 versus RQ Kaguya, and Orangutan X with kind of a bit of the slower path to victory. I think we bring this up every so often where OGT, sometimes they could 2-0, but then they go for that 2-1 instead. And boy, was it a long 2-1 yesterday. I think they had to go through so much stuff, like not completely in their control either. I think there was a blackout in their team house
Oh, yeah.
at one point that we had to pause and fix. And it was a struggle, but they got there and they're here this morning. Well, afternoon, sorry. Esports hours, but so probably we're hoping that the girls manage to get a good day of rest, but we're gonna take a look at their roster. for right now. Of course, it is going to Beach Peeps as well as Casper, the OGs of this squad, with new additions, Emmy, Twirly, as well as Iruma. And I gotta say, all three of these girls did have their own little standout moments yesterday. Twirly on that neon, on that fracture, as well. Emmy and Iruma just showing up huge and clutching a bunch in their games too. I mean, they're looking like a pretty good team. We had a couple of doubts, especially at the end, in between Open 1 and 2,
Nah,
because this team, they did so good at the end of Open 1, but then why did they change their roster? Like
that's
why make
true.
those changes? But then we saw them play yesterday and we were like, oh,
So
that's
that's why.
why. That's why. But yeah, so their opponent's going to be FS Sapphire. Raph, you want to take us through this lineup?
No,
Oh my
I'm kidding. Of
god.
course, full send Sapphire. Finally, we talked about it. Sapphire getting a new home, finding themselves and honestly into a power position. These are names that are very, very familiar to our audience and to all of us. Ginny, Margot, Muffin, TRK, and Polly tearing it up. And again, just recent history. Usually, when we look at Kaguya, Kaguya is that team where you really cannot outmuscle. But Full Send Sapphire, they've done it. And they've done it twice. I believe once in the Swiss stage and once again in our playoffs. And I have to say, Muffin is also one of the most versatile players I've personally met and I've seen play for the longest time. Very deadly on any role you put her on. You see her sometimes on the Sentinel, but as of late, she's been really rocking that duelist and flexing her opping capacity. And with that being said, I kind of want to go back to your point on OGX too, in that they do have a new look. They're a lot more sturdy. They're a lot more, I guess, solid and a lot more patience. Meanwhile, Sapphire, it just seems like they turn it up all to 11. They are just going to try and run you down.
Yeah, and this roster falls into Sapphire, right? I mean, at the Swiss group stages for Game Changers, for Open 1, for Open 2, I mean, it's just so many games because 68 teams, every single team plays the 6 matches. There's just no way that, we can catch all of that. So if people weren't paying attention to the Swiss group stages, they might have just tuned into Game 1 yesterday and been like, holy cow, like RQ Kaguya got like 2-0'd by this team. What is going on? But like just a couple days ago already, like this was the squad that did 2-0 RQ Kaguya. And I don't want to keep harping about that they got the 2-0, because this team in itself, just the name value, the brand value of so many of the girls on this squad is just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, just look at Ginny, right? Like for
Oh
as
yeah.
long as Game Changers has been around, like I remember 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago even, whenever we had those interviews in the past and we're like, oh, like why did you like want to play in Game Changers, what started you wanting to go pro? A lot of the girls were like, oh, like I've had like idols in the scene. I look up to like Ginny, like she's been able to hang it with the boys from like years back just based off of how correct she is in her own right. And it's just, this is such a good matchup. I mean, I don't want to sound like we've got favorites here. I just want both teams to just pull out all the stops and do their best, because honestly, like Orangutan at their peak is such a good team, right? Like when we were watching yesterday's series, we were like, sometimes they might look a bit sloppy. Sometimes they struggle to get like a cohesive attack plan together. Sometimes on defense also maybe a bit hesitant. Maybe they're not all on the same page just yet. But when they get it together, they are so good. So I'm really excited about this matchup. How do you think this will go?
Well, you mentioned a 2-1. I think it's still going to be really, really close. And you talked about Ginny. I talked about flexibility. And once again, Ginny is one of those players too. We've seen a breadth of roles go the way of Ginny. Sometimes, I think this was in the past where she was predominantly a duelist. But as of late, she is now rocking the more supportive roles. And she's excelling at that too. So once again, it's not just the length of her career. It's the consistency of how good she is. And with all of that, I'm very excited to see how this is going to pan out, especially with the veto. So, wow, Fracture to begin with.
Oh, wow. So this This is really interesting because I think that usually for game changers, what we traditionally see is more like I think more of these smaller maps. You usually see like bind, ascent, split. I think that end up falling through the cracks in most of the games. It's not often that we get to see these big maps. And Orangutan X, I mean, this is kind of a replay of their picks from yesterday's series at the end of the day, except this time instead of Fracture as the decider, we're going to start off with a bang on that map one. I could not be more excited. Do you think we're going to see that double neon?
I'm honestly very confident that the double neon is gonna come out. Wow, what a tongue twister here. But with
Say it 10 times.
confident
Fast.
that the double neon is no, I'm not gonna say it 10 times. But looking at the video, you talked about how a lot of the maps on Game Changers are leaning towards the more default heavy ones, the ones that are like Ascent, Haven, which have a lot of access to the rotational avenues. Meanwhile, it's been a different story for the last 2 days now. Fracture, Lotus, all very intentional maps, and I would say can be potentially very quick ones despite the overtime banger we had yesterday. But I feel like OGX might just need to make some sort of roster, or not roster, sorry, agent composition change here, because in comparison to Big Scythe, I feel like Full Sense is gonna play a lot faster, true to their name, and of course true to the history of Sapphire. Fast, but very, very tactical as well.
Do you think that the map picks in any way will affect the bottom scoreline? Like, do we think that the map picks kind of favor one team's playstyle more than the other? How are we feeling on that?
I'm trying to think here because again, I've said this many times. If there's any Filipino player on the board or on the server and there's Haven, there's a very big chance that the squad with more Filipinos is gonna take Haven. That's just how it is. That's basically our home court. So Orangutan, they might either take this 2-0 if they get the advantage over Sapphire and Fracture. They can repeat that success they had yesterday plus the Haven performance, then maybe we're gonna get a 2-0. But if Sapphire shows their fangs, I think it's gonna be a 2-1 in the favor of Sapphire. So that's kind of like playing both sides.
Yeah, honestly, like I get what you're saying, and I love that you brought that up because, like, what it sounds like to me also is that I think momentum is going to play a very big part in this series. I think both FS Sapphire as well as Orang Utan are the kind of teams where FS Sapphire, if they start rolling, they're gonna snowball and steamroll so hard, and momentum like super helps them like get into that very aggressive W gaming mindset. Orang Utan X also have that going on where they're on fire, they're doing great. But then if they start losing a couple of rounds, like we saw yesterday, Big Scythe nearly got the comeback on them in map 3. They lost 7 rounds in a row. They went from 12-5 to 12-12 into that OT. So, yeah, what do you think?
Oh, Jenny's making me think again. Like how many
Your
times
job,
has
you
she
know, I'm
asked
just
me?
making you
No,
do your
I'm
one
joking.
job.
Yes. Well, I think the momentum is, as you mentioned, it is going to be a great point of contention here. One thing that I don't think any team does better is how, once again, OGX can hang on to that, or rather weather the storm. We're going to be jumping right into the agent. So like, as I was talking about earlier, I am going to be expecting
Neon,
quite a
Gecko,
few changes
Gecko Neon.
on the side of OGX, but it doesn't seem like they're going to go that route. The only difference here is that we're gonna have the raise on Twirly and not the neon. But I thought her raise, rather her neon was really okay. There you
Yes!
go. Jenny gets her wish.
Yes! Hey, it's not just me. Come on.
That's true.
She's
That's
so good. This girl, legit, like she could play Neon into a Cypher. I mean, come on. I hate playing into a Cypher. Cypher is just like your natural counter, you know? You're like, oh, there's a wire there, guys. I can't run in. Like, you really need like the support of your team to help figure out that entry just a lot more. But it's gonna be Raise, Fade, Killjoy on the side of FS Sapphire. How do we think? This is some pretty different lineup that both these teams are gonna go for.
That's true. And I think this Fade pick is very, very interesting. I personally am a fan. Even though she kind of fell off the meta for whatever reason, she's still very good. And you talked about Cypher, right? Cypher's natural, well, enemy is Fade. All those brawlers are going to eat up all the cables, eat up all the traps, and just provide that much more pressure.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for us at the panel for now. But here to bring you guys all these sweet, sweet action in game are your casters. It's none other than Coldan as well as Black and Blue. Gentlemen, all ears on you.
Hey guys, it is us. I'm Black and Blue. With me is Coldan, and we are in a series that I don't think we necessarily even expected, for kind of new things to come out here. But as I said, we are in the upper semis this time around. I'm B&B, with me is Coldan, and man, this I think is a matchup where whoever wins this is going to kind of set the tone on who we expect to be one of those teams in the grand finals.
Yeah, between these two teams, I think they've really shown their mark in this Open so far. Both of these teams having great performances so far. They've beaten their opponents in the very first round of the playoffs, and now on the map of Fracture. We saw Fracture close out the day yesterday on, the game of OGX, but now this is where the cookie crumbles. This is where they have to prove themselves up against an opponent as deadly as Sapphire.
I mean, last time we saw this map from both of these teams, it kind of went the distance, right? You look at that full sense match and how it went all the way out. It's been just kind of one-way opening, but I think more importantly here for Orangutan, as you talked about, all the way into overtime versus that big size squad. Huge things, huge implications that this match does have, but opening round, you got full sense here on the defense, Orangutan X on the attack towards A.
Yeah, this is going to be a full-on attack towards the A main position. A great find coming in from Emmy to open up the round, but Ginny finds two fantastic trade frags. Still, towards A main, they will be pushing out towards Sands. They want to get this piece of map control, and the defense have already rotated in. Casper takes down Muffin. This thing stabilized a bit into a 3 versus 3.
Yeah, a bit of a, I think, not exactly the most optimal thing there for Muffin to peek out. No, they have the advantage, but now OGX, they settle, waiting for an opportunity, see if the rotate does come around, and because of the stall they put out, the defense, it shifts back a bit towards CT. They could hit the site now.
Smoke's down.
Smoke just to buy a little bit of time. Polly has opportunity to relocate, find herself a nice position. Oh, but they're actually rotating all the way towards the B side, and there is where only one player on the side of Full Sense Sapphire is. Baby TZ here to receive the Killjoy Utils will delay for a little bit of time. Oh, Wingman actually manages to get out to sight. Oh, my Baby TZ in front of the smoke challenges things, but gets taken down the end. A 2 versus 2. Spike gets,
no time.
Wingman gets taken down, but yeah, no time as you mentioned. Just like that, the first round ends up in a victory for OGX. Well, sorry, the victory for Full Sense Sapphire, just due to the lack of time.
Yeah, they thought that, that the wingman would have had it, but in the end, denial off of the plant, bleeding enough time here out of the attacking side of OGX, and they aren't simply able to run monkey business and take this down. No time to stick the plant as well afterwards, so nicely done on the defense here from Full Sense. They had the right read, I think, in the situation early on, stacking that A side with 4 players.
Full Sense Sapphire coming in with that Spectre by coming through, and actually the defense taking initiative. They want to get control of this A main position. I think that is one of the areas of the map that a lot of teams like to get control of. It really, dictates where the attack can actually come from. Oh, and this double swing, prepared and ready. Both of the players on the side of OGX go down.
Well, I mean, these type of rounds, Coldan, it all comes down to, doing as much damage as you can early. Maybe just not have or allow enough weapons to be brought into the next one. And that's all you really have to consider in these type of rounds. So as long as they can do some damage economically to Full Sense, shouldn't be too much. Tower trying to overrun. Oh, right click connects from Turley. That's good done. But it's not going to necessarily elude into a plant attempt here. They're stuck.
Yeah, as you mentioned, completely stuck towards tower. Yeah, they have that little piece of map control, but the defense are already here. They know that the last 2 players are stuck towards that tower position. They just don't want to let them get that spike planted, right? They don't want to let them have that little bit more cash. Try as they might, they get a little map control, but Ginny's here to delay, deny. Muffin with that trade comes in with the paint shells as well. So a nice second round in their back pocket for Sapphire. Although there is a little bit of damage, right? So OGX, not the worst round in the world. They would have liked if they got that spike plant, but this little setup right here was perfectly done just to deny and will eliminate a couple of players from the OGX side.
Yeah, well, I still like, though, what they were able to do there towards that tower. I don't mind the fact that, you know, maybe the plant attempt necessarily wasn't successful because, as we said, give me rounds, see what you can do, condition the defense a bit, and then let's see how they move on forward. Attacking round now, and Full Sense looking to get active early on.
They're trying to make use of their lesser weapons, right? You get 4 players pushing towards one side of the map, but the read is perfectly done from OGX. They realize a bunch of players push towards Arcade, so what they're going to do, they're going to accelerate towards B main. And, well, the Thrasher is going to reveal a lot of free space, a lot of free real estate, and Wingman's going to get that spike down. It's going to be a full... Oh, I say it's going to be a full 5v5, but Aruma actually wreaking havoc underground. It wrecks 2 players out of it. And now just leaving Baby TZ and Polly left alone in a 2 versus 4 retake.
Well, heavy advantage here for the post-plant hold. Koldan, OGX, they know exactly where Polly is. Able to get the one, able to get a third. Okay, but quick traded out here from Casper. Still, nice attempt to be done, but that's good damage against the gun round here, against Dubai. If a team like OGX to get that much done, that gives them the orbital almost at the cusp of round 4.
Yeah, an important round to win. You don't want to let that bonus get too dicey. They got a couple of kills, right, as you mentioned, so a little bit of economic damage onto the side of Full Sense, but nonetheless, they will be coming in with their buy this time around. Full rifles on both sides. There's a couple of ultimates as well, right? It's a question of whether they want to use it this round to secure it. I think it's going to be important for Sapphire to get this one, make sure that they aren't going to get completely wiped out on the economy, and again, aggressively pushing towards one lane of the attack. But in the meantime, OGX gain control over A. The read is perfectly done. Nobody within the site.
Right here.
Yeah, and just like this, look at that. All 5 players coming in. The Rolling Thunder prepared to go through. Ginny releases that ultimate and everybody swarms out of heaven. A couple of nice tricks come in though, and now pushing towards A main. Just the last player standing is Japeeps. Will go down without too much more to say. So that retake, although giving away the site completely free, they take it in convincing fashion.
Well, the retake there, for sure. Absolutely clean here from Full Sense, utilizing the amount of pressure on the retake that Rolling Thunder gives you to just absolutely shut down this A main hold of theirs. Now, it was a nice attempt here by Casper, you know, bypassing and just avoiding really where that Rolling Thunder would have gone. And still, though, they weren't able to use that to capitalize off of and get the plant attempt, post-plant hold rather, to work out. So, nicely done from Full Sense. Did not burn the orbital off of OGX just yet, though. And I want to see how OGX continue to hit this A site. We saw a while ago that A site became their biggest problem in terms of when the defense shuts him down, and they've been having more success in planting here on B, but not on a round like this where Baby TZ's got their mark.
It's just an eco round, so they aren't going to be expecting too much, right? You have a hero Vandal on Emmy, so you want to set her up, right? You want to set her in positions where she can make a lot of damage happen against the Sapphire squad. And if possible, right, let that Vandal funnel through, flow down the ranks. Spot it out. Muffin notes a couple of players are towards that position, and the rotate is already coming in pretty fast. She's staying here to fight. Nade actually isolates the duel onto Casper. Brilliantly done. Finds the frag, just gets out of there.
Yeah, bails out in the nick of time. Muffin off the spam as well. Catches Aruma. And now this puts OGX in a difficult spot as everybody's weighing in on where Japeeps could be. They know it's on drop. She's probably going to drop down soon. Not much of a fight. Oh, at least gets a Vandal in her hands, but yeah.
30 seconds
We see
left.
here how the defense, though, Koldan, of Full Sense have been really apt and prepared, and also, more importantly, coordinated. And that's what you expect from a team who have gone the distance as they have. Let's not forget, these girls, champs of last year.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of Elite. And so they're looking to run it back once more.
Yeah, so far it's been pretty solid, right? Not too many mistakes so far. That retake in the previous round. This time around, not dropping a single player up against the eco. Sometimes teams struggle, right? They get a little bit overconfident to see those eco frags. They want to get those nice juicy kills, but right, that's what you need. That's what you want. Having a flawless round, your economy is in good condition. And now OGX, this time around, presence towards multiple avenues along the map. Just gonna be prodding for a little bit of information, right? Going for what is basically a default play, just to spot out and gain information. Muffin's here, stunned up, but no one's advancing on a position just yet. She has a couple of players and teammates towards that B site, so that is technically the wrong call from OGX if they decide to hit here. There is 4 players very, very deep within the site. It's going to be difficult to flush them out.
Yep. It's a much better read here from the FS side, and OGX, it might just be walking into a much more difficult site than they initially assumed, but because of this, because Aruma's pulling so much, I guess, space here towards that A site, it pulls the defense away and allows OGX to go for the hit, and Casper, Japeeps, they open up the site.
Whoa, Polly! What? Oh, Ginny was the one that got that kill, but still, 2 versus 3, the spike yet to get planted. There's a flank coming in through, but I'm pretty sure Aruma's trips would be able to signal that if she came in nice and fast. So, yeah, Ginny's got to be patient. She's got to wait. Oh, that's fantastic utility. Flushes Aruma out of the corner and drops the spike. Baby TZ position is noted, right? She broke the tripwire. So they have to be aware of these 2 positions. One towards CT and one towards the flank.
Yeah. Now because of that, they have a much better position here for this retake. You look at the hold and Baby TZ dismantling it off the crossfire. They know where she is as well, Japeeps, and an easy problem solved with quick means. Full Sense gained their 5th.
Yeah, fantastic stabilization. It seemed like OGX were gonna get that round in the back pocket. 3 versus 2. Ginny, last person standing towards the defender spawn position, but still she manages to get the frag, and the most important one, that was the spike carrier. And this coming in from Polly, spinning on a dime, nowhere else to go but to get a couple of frags. And this 2 versus 2, fantastically done. Baby TZ mopping up the floor, the last 2 kills in her hands as well. So 5-1 now. Full Sense Sapphire looking like a well-oiled machine so far.
Quick tech here right now, but as you said, just the way that they can coordinate and play as a unit, even when the odds were against them there. Also just the timing, and I think the most important thing right now for Full Sense, as well as their coordination, is just the reads, where their feel of the game, how they're able to anticipate for the most part where OGX are able to go. Now, Orangutan, with that, to their credit, have been doing a good job of having the lurk, pull a bit of aggro, pull that defense away from the site, but we know a map like Fracture is one that allows that defense to rotate real quick off of CT. And even if we haven't seen Full Sense really push out, which is something you do see characteristically on the map here like Fracture, where the defense pushes out for active map control, like maybe towards Arcade or A main, we haven't seen that much. But the way that they've been anchoring the site and the way that they've been getting good reads on what OGX's plans are has made up for the lack of, I guess, active defense tenfold, and it's gaining them these rounds early.
Yeah, that lurk that came on in the previous round, right? We saw Aruma feigning a bit of presence, feigning a bit of pressure onto the A side of the map. It was a nice attempt. The problem is there isn't much follow-up, right? When you just see Cypher utility, one pair of audio cues coming in, only one person shooting the Vandal, it kind of gives up the jig. And with such a brilliant read coming in from Full Sense Sapphire, right? They stack towards the B side, and it's not very often that you have 2 players playing within B side itself. Maybe there is one that's in the side and one's playing maybe towards more Gen, but with so many players within the site, it's such a difficult site to break down, especially when you want to navigate through tower. If you don't have the right utility, you don't have the right synergies coming through, it's really difficult to flush out a couple of players. And I mean, Full Sense Sapphire, they've been playing great so far. The problem that I kind of see for OGX, right, is that if you can't get through this initial line of defense, when they utilize all these ultimates that they have in their back pocket, it's gonna be a real nightmare, right? Every single one of their agents on Sapphire has really, really good ults. Right? You have the Nightfall, you have the Orbital Strike, you have the Lockdown, Showstopper, Rolling Thunder. All of these ults get so much value as compared to maybe, if you look on the other side, Aruma has the Neural Theft, right? It's a great ultimate for information, but not the best impact-wise, I would say. So if things continue in this motion, Sapphire, they could rack up a couple more rounds and make things extremely difficult. I would say, if you look at the map of Fracture, right, kind of leans it towards more of an attacking sided map because there's so much room for the defenders to take control of. And if you already have a 5-1 lead as Sapphire, things, are just really panning out in their favor.
Well, also not just that, but if you want to talk about ultimates, the fact that Full Sense have been doing a good job of rotating when and where to use that allows them to have the ultimate advantage here economically moving forward. Like, you'd want to have some ultimates here to throw if you're OGX, right, to be able to force around once it comes to your actual buy, but I'm not too sure if that's going to be successful. Push on in here. Damage being done towards Twirly as she makes her way towards it. The tower. Team Flash, but it's okay. They're fine. They should be able to get the plant down, and I want to see how this retake goes. Can they rat themselves here, OGX?
Spur has the orbital strike if she wants to use it. Yeah, and she will. This is a low buy round coming through for OGX. They have to use all of their abilities, every single thing towards them. And this retake, oh, there's so much utility all over the place. Muffin actually finds two. The orbital strike flushes Japeeps out of tower, and now they want to go back towards it. Oh, and all the utilities so perfectly placed. Ginny with the aftershock actually takes down Aruma. Japeeps left alone tower, and with nothing else in her back pocket. It's a flawless round coming through for Sapphire. I mean, yeah, she gets a kill at the very end, but that's the problem, right? As we mentioned, the ultimates and the synergy coming in from Sapphire is so well executed. 3 kills off of utility. That was
nice
just
utility play for sure.
Yeah, insane synergy coming through.
I think there was a bit of an overcommitment there. Like, they do get the ults. Yes, they do get the round win, which is ultimately the most important thing. But look at now. That's 4 ults dispensed against an eco. I think that's still value found here by OGX. Now they got the Rolling Thunder with Full Sense having nothing to respond to that.
That's very true, yeah. That now they have the opportunity to turn things in their favor. Fantastic entry from Twirly gains them control over the entirety of that B side. 4 players on the side of Sapphire, all rotating through their attacking spawn. So they're all going to go for this flank, which is pretty unorthodox, I would say. But let's see how things pan out.
Yeah, luckily here for Full Sense, that means that none of them is going to be within the active effect of that Rolling Thunder. Retake to come on in here. OGX aware of that flank, aware it's coming from B main. As you said, they do swap positions. Muffin make her way towards the site. The smoke drops, allows him to be open, allows Aruma to find the crossfire there and keep that tower in check. 2v5, and this is looking like finally the first decisive round for OGX.
Plot and execute coming in, and then the adaptation on that post plan to push into defender spawn. Right, they realized nobody was actually putting any pressure, any presence towards the spawn position. So what did they do? Twirly took initiative, pushed towards Jen, got that information. Hey guys, there's nobody, literally 0 players coming in from that defender spawn area. They're all coming from the flank. They're all going to be coming from either B main or arcade, and they played it perfectly. Aruma having the confidence to focus all of her attention towards B main, just like this, right? No pressure behind her. She mops up the first 2 kills, and from then on, it was just a complete shutout.
Well, for the meantime, I think here, if you're a team like OGX, you have to be able to take these rounds one at a time, and what's luckily for them is that Full Sense did not have any other pressure coming from that CT. If that flank was maybe a triple flank and then 2 came from the CT still, and we're able to maybe find the kill, that would have been enough pincer, I think, to shut down the power post-plant positions that we saw there from OGX. But let bygones be bygones. Full Sense still at a lead here, and this time around, once more, at least they try something a bit more active towards that drop. Ginny on the fallback still gets Aruma.
Another fantastic opening coming in from Sapphire. Now they've lost that potential flank or lurk. Ginny actually didn't spot anyone else, right? So that might be a bit of false information, but the stack is still on the correct side. Muffin, first on contact right here. Actually timing her. This is, a very unfortunate situation. Casper timings Muffin, takes her down without a peep in the round. Emmy, off the contact of the smoke and the molly, she finds herself into the site. Just this contact play up onto the A side is, well, garnered OGX a man advantage situation and a post plan.
Well, this hold here from OGX could look to be once more successful. Casper spied out. Baby TZ quick on that opening pick. Still the low here, Twirly, so She has to be the one to make first contact. They now have A main control. The drop is theirs. A powerful position. They got flashes as well to help keep this site theirs. On the peak, Baby TZ, another opener. They haven't cleared out the second floor. Allows Emmy to get off of one and Japit to play off of that contact as well. Flash on the default. They know it's long! And Baby TZ with a fourth and a clutch as well. More than enough time. And what a round from Baby TZ herself.
2 opening frags easily in the hands of OGX, yet they still lose the round. What an insane play coming in from Baby TZ. Look at this, like a nice opening frag, but Muffin taken down, and through the smoke, Emmy finds a fantastic frag onto the lone defender. But Baby TZ, the final boss in the server, flashed up 1 versus 1, and he still takes away the round, just robbing it from OGX.
I can't believe Baby TZ. What a player. She is one of those really MVP caliber stars that we saw last year. Also bringing it in during the split 1, but incredible stuff. That's a big time player making a big time play.
There.
Just like that, she has her ultimate as well. She could go for a retake play, and I think that's the setup right now. Look at how Sapphire have placed their defenders. 4 players towards B. They're gonna contest if OGX, you know, go into the B side, but if they go in towards A, look at where Baby TZ is actually playing. All the way towards CT. She's playing for that retake scenario. Both narrow swarms towards the plant position, so she's just gonna buy some time, wait for her teammates to come over, and then use that lockdown to really flush out every single position.
The lockdown, as you said, will give them the space here for the retake. And it's good timing as well, because I'm not too sure how set this post plant hold from OGX are. It is planned for A main, and they do have utility to keep him off of that spike still. They got, you know,
think
the
it's a fake.
volleys here. It is a fake.
They're
They dropped
rotating
the
back
spike,
towards
actually.
B. The spike is dropped towards the back of the A side, but
They don't know.
Full Sense Sapphire, they think it's a fake towards B.
Oh no!
Oh,
They
no!
didn't even intend for it to be a B. I mean, a fake plant.
No, they
cooldown,
didn't.
But
They didn't.
it still pulled them away. So now the retakes to come on in.
What a round this is. 4 versus 4. They have the Rolling Thunder. Ginny could use that. MTZ. What a fantastic molly. Buys them a lot more time, and this B hopping or Thrasher's gonna find out all the information they need, all towards Sands.
We got the Rolling Thunder here for this retake itself. A main's what they're gonna fight for, but they bypass it to get in front of it, and that's gonna be huge here. Margot! That's a triple for her rather, on the go. But the 1v1, Emmy seen by the Hawk.
No!
And Margot with another clutch here for the side of Full Sense. Heroics gaining them to the end, but no time? No time.
No!
Wait, no time. This time around though, it's a clock that sets him back.
Back-to-back 4Ks for the Full Sense members. I mean, this was a peculiar round, right? Aruma, the player that actually caused the rotations in the first place, potentially bought them barely just enough time. This retake coming through, fantastically done by Margot, but as you mentioned, not enough time. The confusion, the disarray that was thrown into that round. We saw the rotations going back and forth. Sapphire caught with the pants down, I guess, but the round still falls in the hands of OGX, so barely, by just a couple milliseconds, they pull themselves away with at least a 3rd round.
Yeah, at least they were able to buy time, but you see there on that retake, even with OGX able to get in front of the Rolling Thunder before it hit them, just to have exemplary players there like Margot, that just allows you to get over that small hump, allows you to kind of bypass whatever other ideas OGX would have otherwise had to stop him. And a bit of a, I guess, curious round there, to say the least. Cold down, like the pseudo fake that didn't really even wasn't intent to be one, and Full Sense go into a wrong site, but they still win. So
yeah,
I mean,
the thing is, because who was it? The wingman that got taken down actually forced them to re-hit into the A side. They had no option. The spike was lost there, but there isn't an audio cue when you kill wingman that the spike is dropped towards the A side, right? You don't know that. The defenders don't know this, and as you mentioned, aggressive push coming through towards the B main position. They are taking a bit of initiative this time around, and Muffin is going to get a whole lot of information, but the rotation's already coming through. OGX, they are just going to be hitting into this A side yet again, but who's here to receive? None other than the queen herself, ATZ, lurking atop the site. Oh, Wingman gets taken down. Spike lost in the mix.
Once
Oh,
again.
Ginny Casper.
Oh my goodness.
Fantastically done.
Mosh pit
Versus
here on the
three.
site in many ways. Koldan 2v3, though they still stand with an advantage at the very least. And that's certainly something to consider. Muffin here with an operator. Difficult to try and retake sometimes with this weapon. Doesn't connect on the shot that she needed to. And now they know the op is online.
They know where one of them is. Two more players to identify. Muffin around this corner as they set up this crossfire.
Last player standing.
And he, as always, Aruma reveals her position towards drop, hiding in plain sight. Yet she takes down the last two
Last
players.
round in the
OGX find themselves into a 4th round.
Well, these rounds for sure are coming in very, I think, curious ways. Good initial hold there potentially on the site itself, but especially the way that they close out this half, it comes into a very precarious point where you wonder, small things could really change the outcome.
Here.
Alright, going into the final round of the half. Margot with that Nightfall available. And Casper with the Rolling Thunder as well. So ultimates on both sides. Let's see how things pan out for either of these teams. Again, most of their players towards the B side, right? Sapphire, content with playing this sort of retake scenario towards A. A main control, not really the name of the game this time around. OGX towards drops where the majority of their players are coming through. Twirly with the lightning fingers clears out. And, oh, they push the issue. They take control over A main. That's fantastic map control garnered by Sapphire. They now have another avenue for this retake.
Well, here comes in the push. Nightfall as well. Try and cut the noise to try and find the angle. Muffin good for the one. Eats Twirly alive. But still, advantage here heavily in the retaking side. Baby TZ on the cat. They now have control of A main. Difficult spot for Emmy to try and win out. Gets ball. He can find a second. She doesn't connect, even off the dink. And now they know Japeeps is here on the drop, but she brings it to a 1v2. They know she's on the position. They can stick the defuse. Japeeps drops down, and the 4K clutch from Japeeps. Orangutan come back with a round.
Switching sides.
What a round coming in from Japeeps. It all looked lost. This was a fantastic push coming in from Full Sense Sapphire. They took control over A main. They had nowhere else to go. OGX stuck within the site. Just one player required to clutch them the round, though. Japeeps from the heavens, from that drop position, just takes his heads up duels. What a clutch coming in from her.
Yeah, great post plant as well. You don't see teams normally plant there, but I think our panel's got more to say. How you guys doing?
Thank you, gentlemen. FS Sapphire, guns blazing, picking up that 7 rounds on defense on Fracture. No less. Raf, what do we think about FS Sapphire putting on this pressure?
Oh man, pressure is a perfect way to put it. It feels like the way FS handles their approach towards the map is that it is a little more oriented towards the skirmishing. I know Jenny's fixing her earphones there just because I'm in stealth mode right now, but okay, getting back into the topic here. Yes, there's a lot of skirmishing more on the side of Full Sense. And very true to their name, they are really not afraid to invest ultimates, even against eco rounds, just to really continue that momentum. However, I feel like it did kind of hurt them in the long run. I feel like if they just kind of staggered the use a little bit more, then maybe the lead they have would be a little bit larger, as once again, Orangutan has also picked their spots. There's also this habit of just kind of going into fight on the side of Full Sense. Granted, they do bloom in either situation, even if it's a small skirmish or a large mosh pit. They have been very, very good.
So OGX managed to thankfully win those last 2 rounds at the end of the first half to bring it to a more even 7-5. With the Cypher Gecko, how do you think they're going to do after the swap?
Well, Orangutan, a little bit better on the defensive end, I would say. And as our casters mentioned, this is pretty much a very attacker-sided map because of the way it is. And there's just so many creative avenues where you can create these awkward off timings, but we'll have to wait and see for the next half.
Wait and see. It's going to be Cold and Blue. Back to you.
Thanks, Rafrachu is what we're going to call you for the meantime, because I think you guys put it well. This map is one that, when applied pressure to, it can be difficult to close on out. But with a close scoreline, how do you feel so far after the opening half, Cold?
I think Sapphire has got a fantastic base, right? But OGX, they are unrelenting. Look at the pressure, the heroics coming in from every single one of their players. That last round, kind of encapsulates that first half, right? Fulls and Sapphire looks like they're in prime position, and then OGX just come up with a beautiful clutch at the very end. But this time around, swapping sides. OGX now on the defense, they have a little bit of information towards B main, and they are actually rotating over towards the A side, is where the main brunt of this attack comes through. Aruma, only person in the side for this defense.
Well, push on in. Aruma all alone. A double for her. She still stands. Almost gets a triple off the right click. Still stays alive. They now know that the A side hit is definitely here for sure. Plant stuck down. Molly, it barely connects, but somehow Baby TZ off the camera gets a double from the drop, and Full Sense open up with a pistol.
What is up with the drop players this map? They're all getting multi-frags after multi-frags, and I mean, for good reason. Look at this chaos that's ensuing on the side. Aruma does a bunch of damage, but Baby TZ playing in that off-angle position. A lot of players actually love to abuse that drop position, right? Because of the ramp, you can actually have different elevations to take fights. And that's why when you execute for a retake on the A side, you have to be very, very cautious of drop. And I guess that's why a lot of these players have gotten so many multi-frags from that position. But this time, just classics on the hands of OGX. They are going to the stack though, so let's see if they can get a couple of cheeky right clicks.
Well, maybe they can get some damage in, especially up close here. With these classics that you talked about, Casper only good for the one, but they overrun that tower. Now it's theirs. Unluckily for Japeeps. Spy it out here early on the climb, and yeah, I'm not expecting much to be done here from Aruma. Does have a frenzy, but in this case, Full Sense should be another round for them. Damage done, but that's all she wrote. 9-5 for Full Sense up into half.
Yeah, Full Sense winning out both of the pistols and the second round conversion, so they really do have set themselves up to, you know, really secure this map so far. OGX though, they've won out the anti-bonus on the first half. Let's see if they can do it this time around. But with the composition, right, I do feel like they really need to take some sort of control, right? With the Neon, she's best at moving forward, right? Neons are scariest when they're moving forward in a certain direction. So A main control looks like it's on the cards this time around. But on the side of Full Sense Sapphire, they want to convert this bonus. Will be a stab in the back for OGX, a real morale breaker.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about, right, on the defense here, Fracture, we know you kind of have to get aggressive. And with the way OGX are doing it, they have the right idea. This allows them at least so that if Full Sense do hit this A site, they still have control of that main, they still have control of Sands if they're able to hold on to it, and they can focus their strengths onto the site itself. Emmy with a pick here off of that flank, and the A site, the hit comes.
What's the protocol from OGX? They're gonna push, they're gonna contest. Fighting right here. Twirly, oh, the stuns are perfect. So are the flashes. Utility abound for OGX. They're gonna go for this retake, but Muffin shuts her down. Japeeps left in for that trade. Ginny Casper finding 2 kills. Puts Margot into a very difficult situation with just the Spectre, and it won't be enough to convert the round. So, a fantastically orchestrated defense coming in from OGX. They don't overpush, they don't overcommit onto the A site. They gain control of A main, and then they go for a concerted effort for that retake.
And the way as well that, you know, the read there coming in proper, as I said, the hit will come in, but they still have control of A main. And not having A main control when you're the attacking side in the post plant makes that post plant hold so much more difficult. You can't play the long angle. You aren't allowed to kind of anchor back down towards anything exposed in A main nor CT. And because of that, really, the fact that they had control of that Sands of A main once more gains the round here for the OGX defense. So nicely done, but it was against a bonus. And because of the damage done on that bonus by Full Sense, you can see a player here like Twirly, Guardian only in hand. As a push from Emmy, doesn't get one this time around. She's found.
It's just Aruma left alone, right? The Cypher on the side. Trips are broken. The jig is up. They're going into the B side. How much can she do with a lone player?
They know the tower is occupied, though. Let's see how Aruma plays this. Oh, they found timing there for a bit. Muffin on the catch. They finally cleared on out. 3v5. No ults for this retake. OGX in a difficult spot. When the smoke dissipates, Twirly has to get this kill. At least Japeeps is there for the trade. 4v3. Flash on towards the site. Ginny trapped between a rock and a hard place. But it's hard to entry with this crossfires. Muffin shuts her down, and Casper's trying to do something more else. The nade will keep him at bay. Orbital strike ready, but Ginny is as well. 10-6 as full sense. Another impressive hold.
That tech is only as good as their
Giving away that opening kill was the catalyst for all this action unfolding towards the B side. Emmy, a step too far and around, lost in their hands. This retake was a little bit more to be desired, right? They didn't have enough players for a proper strong retake coming through, and 3 players still stand for the side of Sapphire at the end of things. They are really, really looking good this map. And with that win, they force OGX down on the low buy. They only have a couple of upgraded pistols, so that's all they have. A bit of damage is the name of the game, but FS Sapphire already on 10, most likely an 11. What else can they muster?
Look at all this coming towards this A side. They come through the arcade, but they're playing no games here. Cold. Margot, opening entry. Plan should go down. The retake, rather. The flank hit coming on here. They can tell. You can see Polly having to address this. Japeeps at the corner doesn't expect Polly to be there. Baby TZ off of the swing as well. And because of this hold, OGX on their eco just not able to really do much true damage in this case. The Dizzy at least gets a spam, at least gets a blind, but that's all she wrote once more. 4v5 in the end and do nothing. 11-6 is full sense running away with this game.
Yeah, that flank, actually, Polly did hear the footsteps, which is why she turned around and tucked in. Like, there's no reason for any attacker to be playing in that deep angle. But because Polly, you know, kept her ears peeled, heard a couple of footsteps, played that angle to perfection. 11-6 OGX. I like the ideas that they're trying to do, right? They're going for flanks early on for this retake pinch that they are trying to do. The problem is they lose too many players, too many defenders on the initial hold, and then the retake becomes a little bit lackluster, a little bit, you know, to be desired, should I say. This time around they have B main control, but again, Full Sense Sapphire are attacking the correct side. Just 2 players here, and Aruma's trips have been consistently broken as well. It's been a very, very strong and scary attack coming in from Sapphire, and this round is no different.
Trips on here, actually catches out still where Aruma is. Nice anticipation there from Muffin to keep them alive. Looking to bake this round. The Thrash come around the corner, clearing out most of A main, and that's what they want to fight for right now. Rolling Thunder catches him. Baby TZ's blind. Orbital strike on their position. There's no way they get out of this. Full sense, absolutely full sending everything at OGX. 2v5 left.
Aspen, Twirly, what more can they muster? If they lose this, they're up against 12 and they don't have money, to say the very least. They have to go for this save, but I don't think they're gonna be even given the opportunity. As a full hunt coming in for Twirly. They know she has that operator in hand, and she's, well, dying to keep control of this, because that is most likely gonna be their only good weapon into this last, well, potentially last round.
They can use their smoke here, kind of play around it. Oh, barely gets away in the nick of time. Luckily here,
nasty.
At least they keep the op, but yeah, he had to pick one, she had to pick one. Sands or CT, well, the former seemed to be right.
Yeah, this fight's happening consistently towards Sands. Both teams love to get control of that position, and with good reason, right? It allows you to actually shake up the A main defense. It really prevents them from having a good hold, but at the end of the day, Full Sense Sapphire had that orbital strike as well as the Rolling Thunder. It completely disrupted everything OGX wanted. And this time around, with the only good weapon in their hands, Twirly wants to make a difference, but position is revealed. Do they want to accelerate into the site with the better weapon? Nightfall comes in through, and oh, Muffin actually gets the first. Baby TZ finds a second as well. They're both low HP and they get taken down. Not much effort.
Didn't even have to use the lockdown there. They'll use it for the post-plant hold instead. to buy even more time and make it even much more difficult now for OGX. Molly keeps him at bay. Aruma here at least finds a kill, but she's gonna have to find even more. Doesn't have space to get the neural theft. Maybe if she takes on Baby TZ here on the swing, can ult the body, but still doesn't pop it just yet. That lockdown's gonna just waste so much time. She's dead. Absolutely. What a combo. The fault line into the paint shells. They paint the room red and they paint this one dead. Map number 1 to Full Send Sapphire.
A dominant map to say the least, but what a showing from Full Send Sapphire. Fantastically done. Looking at the recap, Full Send Sapphire just did a fantastic job throughout, both on attack and defense. They managed to manipulate the rotations. They managed to go for very, very nice executes and a couple of great clutches in their back pocket as well. So what a start coming from Full Send Sapphire. I can only imagine how they're feeling right now as they head into what is the second map, which will be Haven in just a short little bit.
I mean, from the get-go, you can kind of tell that Full Send Sapphire were in the driver's seat all the way. We look at how they were able to not only just win their post-plant holds, but their retakes as well in the first half. Very, very clean for the most part, and they were really, I guess, setting the pace for this game. The way as well that these former champs were able to kind of not only dictate where the fights would happen, but when. That was a big thing, and as we talked about a while ago, their reads were so on point that even if on their defense, they weren't necessarily pushing out, they weren't necessarily always being active, at least in the first half of that first half of defense of theirs, they still, because of their reads, because of the way that they know how to retake super well, their rotate was in time and everything was in sync, that was more than enough for them to gain that advantage in the opening half. They win the second pistol, and from then on, it was a runaway train.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a surge coming from OGX, but at the end of the day, with such a fantastic lead already in the first half, well, they just needed a couple more rounds for Sapphire to take home the map of Fracture. It seems like a comfortable one so far, right? It was a little bit dicey in the previous encounters on this map, but today they look like a very, very well-oiled machine. And yeah, I can only imagine what's going to be on the second map, but I think we're going to be throwing it back to the desk before they close things out.
Yeah,
Oh, whoops. We kind of cut out BNB there, but it's okay. You know, we here on the panel have that little single brain cell. I'm sure we can, you know, catch y'all up on what our thoughts about the map. Thank you, gentlemen. But I mean, full sending it in map 1 of day number 2. As BNB said, just fully in control, in the driver's seat the entire time. Raph wanted to talk to you about just how smartly and intelligently Full Sense are playing.
And it's not just the intelligence, it's also the confidence. You brought it up earlier during our halftime discussion, and I'm glad you did, because those two are a very, very potent mix. And just to add on what Black and Blue said there at the very tail end, he means well. He means very well. You know, thank you to our casters who are as attentive as they are. But going back, you know, they talked about how sharp the rotations are. They talk about how, again, identifying the weak side was a very, very common and a very successful thing on Full Send side. And I feel like this is because they're just so good at identifying these behavioral patterns on the side of Orangutan. And this is exactly what I was talking about yesterday in terms of Orangutan's games. OGX, they're very good at those haymakers, but once you ask them to kind of dissect how the enemy team plays, that's where they're somewhat, I would say, lagging behind just a little bit. Doesn't really remove any of their potency, but I feel like they would be a lot more dangerous if they do. And that Fade pick worked wonders. But once again, Baby TZ really, really showing up here. Not on just the defensive end, but also on the attacking side too, Ray Richu.
Baby TZ, man, baby girl. Black and Blue said this in the first half too, I think. Big time player making those big time plays, and boy did she do that in this map number 1. Just 1 ACS shy of that 300, but 21 and 9 on that Killjoy, no less. But on the OGX side as well, we've got Casper, 17-5 with the 261 ACS. Twirly this time just not having the best game on the Neon. I mean, we bring this up every time we see the Neon on the Fracture, right? It kind of depends on how well the rest of your team is doing, just how good the communication is as well. Because if your team isn't having the best time helping to set you up, then it's going to be really hard to try to shine on that agent. But boy, I mean, do Full Sense Sapphire deserve all the props that they're going to get for this one. 12 for skills as well.
And just to go back on the point on why Furley's not having a great game, again, I feel like I'm championing this Fade pick so much, but Fade just provides insane passive threats. As long as you know that, as the
have that little single brain cell, I'm sure
as long as we have that, rather as long as she's present on the board, then the Prowlers are just gonna provide so much space, and in turn is going to make any attacking or any would-be advancing player a little bit reluctant on just pressing forward in general. And as well as Margau's ability to just flat out duel, it helps so much in their effort.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that we're always praising Orangutan X for, especially yesterday, was just how the sheer immense of firepower that the girls have on this team, right? But the thing is, when we go up against a team such as Full Sense, a Sapphire, we're kind of seeing a little weakness being exploited, which is FSS Sapphire also have the same firepower that OGT have, but they also have more of that cohesive planning, and it's the brains behind the firepower that they don't just win gun duels, they also have very good plans coming in, and that's kind of making the difference in this series. Because Full Sense of Sapphire, you know, they don't just win based off of that pure gun skill. Like, they're not just always rushing forward, you know, they know when to pull it back, they know when to like play it a bit more intelligently and a bit more slow. But looking forward to the rest of this series, Raph, like, what do you think that OGT have to be able to do to make a comeback?
Oops. Again, stealth mode, my bad.
Mike.
I was just talking about how tactful Full Sense is, and I'm glad that Jenny brought that up, because Orangutan, they just cannot try and outmuscle their opponent, because Full Sense is one of those teams that can... Yeah, exactly. Not the team you can do that with. And I feel like if they took a page out of the book of, again, Full Sense to just try and get those habits, get that info before they can launch their attack, then maybe it would be a little bit better on the side of Orangutan. But if I had to go on their defensive end too, which is usually where they really shine, which is why they're called the Shield of Game Changers, I feel like they have to be a little bit more stoic. Again, just Full Sense, they're threatening so much with all these smaller skirmishes that it makes Orangutan uncharacteristically antsy. You see these immediate rotations when there's not even a major threat being proposed. But again, the series still very long. That was map 1. Maybe it's the warm-up.
Yeah, I mean, we did think that it was going to go to all 3 maps, but series point for FSS Sapphire. Next up, of course, is going to be that map 2 on Haven, a map that traditionally Orangutan X have found a lot of success on. So if it's going to be a map that they can try to turn the series around, it's going to be that one, guys. We're going to go for a really short break before we come back for map number 2, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back in just a bit. Hi, guys, and welcome back. We are just about ready to hop into that map number 2 of our first series of the day. And whew, I mean, map 2 on Haven. This is where we find out exactly the stuff that Orangutan X are made up out of, right? Because we've seen them historically have some pretty good performances on Haven, but going up a team against a team such as Full Sense Sapphire and seeing like whether they can find that same amount of success, I think this is going to be where it really counts. Raph, what are your thoughts?
The first thought that came to mind was my glasses are misbehaving, therefore I had to realign them for a good 30 seconds. And second, I feel like if Full Sense take this map, then, well, obviously Orangutan's gonna lose, but not only that, it's gonna be incredibly deflating because as you've mentioned, Haven is a map where Orangutan has found a lot of success, and I feel like it's one of their more complete maps. Their weaknesses on this map
Yeah.
are not as, I would say, obvious. It's definitely holes in their game still, but I am just really hoping that they would really pick it up because Full Sense, they're looking like an absolute juggernaut. They look to amend whatever losses they took in Open 1 and in any previous performances because, as you mentioned earlier, their approach to the game is very calculated. It's very, very intelligent, paired with a lot of firepower.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a very big decider for both these squads, right? Because for Orangutan X, as we mentioned, this is going to kind of prove whether or not like they can break out of the tier that they're in and go toe to toe with a team such as Full Send Sapphire if their strats will work versus them. Whereas for Full Send Sapphire, right? I mean, these girls probably came into Open 2 with no intention to lose, right? Because in the Swiss qualifiers, they did go 5-1. They got O2'd by SMG in the qualifiers. If they do win this map and this series, and you know, if SMG win versus GE Phoenix in the match that's being played right now over on the mainstream, then there will be that rematch tomorrow that we'll see. So I think, you know, for Full Sense of Sapphire, this is also kind of an important series for them because, you know, they're probably looking at SMG as their big rivals, and that's kind of their goal for Open 2. So they're going to want to prove that versus a team versus Orangutan X, they can make short work of them and then carry on in the competition.
I'm genuinely curious if this puts Full Sense Sapphire as arguably our second best team here because once again, OGX, the grand finalist from last Open, a very, very convincing grand finals too. Very soulful. You just had to be there. But again, with Full Sense, I feel like they also had a bit of an advantage coming into Fracture because there was already a VOD, you know, there was already data on how Orangutan would react to some certain plays and how Orangutan generally operate. Haven is a bit of a mystery for this roster, I would say, because we haven't necessarily seen this type of squad, or rather this iteration of Orangutan play on Haven. But Full Sense, it seems that their mastery of just kind of making Orangutan do what Full Sense want them to do is such a scary, scary thing to go against.
Yeah, and we've also seen how Orangutan X don't necessarily do well under that pressure. And we saw them in that map 3 yesterday where Big Scythe were able to bring them all the way to OT as well. I feel like for Orangutan X especially, if they start to drop a few rounds, I'm not sure just, you know, about their mental, about the pressure, if they're like, oh, like, but this is our map pick. Like, I'm really nervous for them, to be honest.
Yeah, again, it's all valid. You know what I mean? Orangutan, they don't want to go into LB this early as well, considering that they're one of the more decorated teams with I would say, long-standing cores. Casper, who was really, really good yesterday, just having a bit of a cold spell here. But again, it's because of how Full Sense is directing Orangutan on where they want to fight and just basically giving them the terms of engagement, which is something that Orangutan can't really allow, even if they're that good defensively, even if they can rely on a single half to turn the game around.
Yeah, and we talk about Casper, who's just pretty much the rock of this team, right? She got that MVP in that map number 3 decider at the end of yesterday, also. And then you look at the 3 new members of the squad who are all very mechanically talented individually, but then in important series, you're like, where do we point our shiny new toys? And then you have to be able to bring it all together and get them together as that team and just make sure that you're working together and that you keep these spirits up. So looking at the Asian composition is going to be the fade once again for the side of Full Sense Sapphire. What do we think?
Oh man. Well, I would say they're both really sound. Jet, well, both breaches on the side. I think this fade on the side of Margao is gonna provide so many issues still if Orangutan continue this hyper brawly playstyle. But Japips on that Sova is gonna do some mad damage. I am just certain of Japips popping off yet again.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Chapip Sova versus the Margot Fade, right? And then mirror matchup for the remaining 4 agents. So, how do we think this composition is going to work out for both these teams really quickly? Are we smelling that 2-0 or that 2-1?
I think it's a 2-1. I think Orangutan's gonna bounce back this on this map.
Yeah, same. I think that too. But guys, we're gonna hand over the time back to Colden as well as Black and Blue. Guys, take it away.
Thank you guys, panel there, Jenny and Raph. But for the meantime, man, we're looking at here exactly right the map pick of Orangutan, who are looking to try and extend this even further in the map number 3, but Haven is one they've had a good record on so far, 7-0 in the past half of a year, but so have Sapphire flawless so far. What do you think of how this map 2 could go, Cold?
To be honest, I just took a little peek at the match histories, right, of these two current rosters. 3-0 is Sapphire on Haven so far this open, and their most recent opponent was actually RRQ Kaguya. So taking down one of the bigger names in the scene so far on the map of Haven, I think that just speaks volumes, right? On the other side of the pond, right, looking at OGX, they've only beaten one team so far on this map of Haven. Technically still 100% win rate, but that is a question mark for OGX. We don't really know how this team plays, and as we jump into the server, this pistol round might just see how things would like to play out. OGX on that attacking side showed presence towards C long, but Muffin's gotten quite a bit of information, right? Nobody towards A, and that allows Sapphire to actually rotate over, but they're actually reading this rotation pretty nicely. They are stacking towards A, but OGX, well, they found the gap in the armor. The one weak spot, the one weak side, nobody here to receive. Looks like it's going to be a free B-side plan for them into a post-plan position as Sapphire will garner together for a 5 versus 5 retake.
B-site entirely theirs for the taking. Nobody's stopping that attempt there as the retake comes on in counteraction. They do have some utility to keep him off of this spike. Those shock darts being the biggest one, and the aftershock. Formerly, actually laterally thrown on here. A double for Twirly to keep him on spun. Now they're in check. Now they aren't sure how to deal with this. They don't have utility to fight with it anymore. Baby TZ gets at one of the Twirly with the shock darts I talked about. They're still alive. They're winning all the fights though. And that's a big point. Full sense. They can start to get the stick. They don't anticipate the flank. The gravity well pulls him off of the spike, and Casper finishes him with a ghost. Nice opening pistol here from OGX on the hold.
The German has some fancy.
What annoying pieces of utility in that post, but I mean, it was aftershock, it was shock darts, it was killjoy nano swarms, and then it was the Astra gravity well, and even after that, you have the Astra herself coming in from the back lines to close things out. A fantastic adaptation, right? I mean, look at that. They prodded both sides of the map and then forced the rotations into two extremes, right, towards the A side itself and towards C. There was nobody within B, and that allowed them for such a free side to take home. And this time around, just pistols on the side of Sapphire, right? They are just going to be gambling, stacking onto the C side. It's not a bad call, I would say, but it's the wrong one, it looks like. If Twirly just commits slightly further into this, they should be able to read out this stack.
Well, for sure don't have the right idea on which way OGX are going, but that leaves OGX here, Orangutan, another completely free site to take and get the plant off of. Full sense. I mean, they're trying to go for this flank, but the turret, it should catch him as they cusp a corner.
Yeah, exactly. They are realizing right now that A is, awfully quiet, so they're just gonna contact into this one. They found a free site for their taking. And that flank, I think the turret was broken, so OGX should be expecting at least one on the flank. I'm not sure if they're aware that 3 are just, steamrolling into that position. Pressure now, crossfires established. Casper and Aruma both here to receive. And they get mopped up like a little fly, swatted out of the sky. Last 2 players remaining. Should be a done deal, but OGX, flawless round coming through. A nice, clean one at that. So, yeah, contrary to the very first map, this time they're starting off with the first 2 rounds in their backcourt.
Yeah, quick and clean. Not much of a problem here for OGX to win against the hold, with a hold like that, rather, against that type of push, but weapons now out for full sense, and this is when we expect them to respond, as we have seen earlier on and in the past. But I like the way that OGX have been kind of patient here early round. They've been anticipating possible aggressive pushes coming from full sense, and this is one of those pushes that we were talking about. See that aggressive defensive push here from this A site, A main from full sense, and it gains them A main control, but the cross from Twirly is, I think, what they're trying to guard right now.
Yeah, they saw that dash coming through. And Twirly is just putting so much pressure. Look, her mere presence of dashing towards a shot has caused 3 players on the defense to stand there. But Baby DZ actually knocks down the spike. The rotation's not coming in just yet. They're going to be clearing out Twirly, and yeah, that just happens. Muffin will find out that rat towards A, and now the rotation's coming in towards the B side. It's going to be difficult to get this spike planted as Polly just lights them up, shuts them down. Japeep's last person standing, and the spike is not within the control whatsoever.
1v3, all on the Japeeps. They now know where she is from that recon, which gives away more information than it finds, really. Yeah, that was it. Margot shuts her down. Quick round for full sense here. And the Sapphire squad so far. It's good recovery every time that we see them in these type of rounds.
I like the idea that they were going for, right? The position of Twirly towards a shot actually caused quite a lot of attention to be drawn towards that position, but Baby TZ knocked down that spike as it was coming towards that B site, and when the spike gets lost in the mix just like that, they clear out the lurker towards a shot, and there was so much control in full senses, remit. So this time around, they have rifles again, but pressure towards A lobby is the name of the game. Both teams like to fight for this position. The smoke, the sound was beautifully done. Emmy caught in the middle of no man's land. And just like that, opening frag in the hands for OGX. B again. They like to prod this part of the map. Baiting, hoping for an over-aggression coming in from Baby TZ.
Yeah, nice timing there. Coming in. And they find 2 picks off of these initial contact plays. Muffin, a second for her in the round. Keeping them in check, and OGX just struggling to even get any foothold of any sort of map control here in this round.
Look at where they're playing, right? Crossfires, holding for lurks, playing very, very deep within, towards their spawn, right? Not even really contesting the C or B side. They're content to go for this retake because they know with a 5 versus 2, 3-man advantage, they stand so much more to win in this round, especially when they play together. Stun comes through, the spike goes down, but Baby TZ's here to receive. Aruma finds the first one, but won't be finding too much more as that full sense Sapphire. The convincing round this time, after finding multiple opening frags, they will convert the second round.
Very. OGX just not seemingly at the ready to go for the punish right on after the initial contact here from Muffin, especially pushing out of that smoke. She wasn't even fully ready for the fight, but
yeah,
luckily for her, that Emmy was just trapped in the gravity well and they weren't able to punish. So things working out for full sense, and that's kind of what we saw from Fracture too.
Yeah, the map of Haven has kind of leaned itself towards very heavily influenced by that A lobby control, right? Whoever has control of A lobby gains a massive map advantage, map control and advantage in that round. This time, Twirly with the knives out, gets spotted out by that scan, and again, B side. They love to push this part of the map. Can she find anything though?
Well, it's a difficult spot for Twirly to be in. I like the idea, but just the backup wasn't there. Emmy good for the one, but the fights, for the most part, they're going full sense's way. And Casper's in a difficult spot. 1v2, gets the second here on that C site and completely opens it up. Now they have a real chance to get this spike down.
Separated though. Isolated 1 versus 1s. Margot spots out one more. The Rolling Thunder, they're gonna push the issue. They're not gonna go for the spike plan. Abby relieves a little bit of pressure, takes down one arm of the attack, and now they have the whole map to work around. 50 seconds, smoke towards B, and Jitty reads it perfectly. Oh, he gets pulled in by the suck, and oh, the gravity well. Well, it just costs her a life. Abby will close things out, so if beautifully done. Coming in from Casper, I mean, look at these shots. There was a nice attempt coming in from Twirly to get a bit of control, but a couple whiffs, you know, cost them that advantage with Casper pulling things back under her control and off the Rolling Thunder. They secure that round in a very nice recovery.
It was a nice attempt. I mean, what they were trying to do there was have the jet dash in from B main into C link, have a double push into garage and into C long, which was previously, you know, created, and it's called the Vision Strikers Execute on the C split, but they just, the garage push was a bit late, the long push was a bit late, and still it works out for OGX because of the great recovery of a player like Casper, who's such a talent to bring it back. But now another A-side plant attempt here. They got blades on the Muffin, but more importantly, the lockdown plus a Cosmic Divide for the retake.
It's gonna be difficult to counter these two ultimates. Oh, and up and above, Muffin actually finds out to Emmy. Cosmic Divide used on the attacking side. Aggressive and around the corner.
Oh,
Twirly
no.
tries to find something, gets nothing. And this is chaos. This is an extremely difficult task. Japil gets spotted out, and behind the smoke and mirrors, what else can she find? Absolutely nothing. Casper in 1 versus 5. This is a done round if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, no chance in hell.
Flawless.
Full sense. Easy pickings for them against this OGX squad. Misfortune striking here for OGX. You can see Emmy knew that updraft was to come anyways. Actually, no, she wasn't aware. You have to anticipate that when there's blades on the opposing side. The plant attempt, always check out for that updraft check. And then as well here, Twirly not able to get a single one up close there with a Vandal. Just misfortune, mistiming, working against OGX's hold there. Full sense to capitalize off of it and punish.
And look at what is done to the OGX side, right? Despite, I mean, because of that, such a clean win, right? Full Sense Sapphire have so much money in the bank, but on the other side of things, OGX, a couple of upgraded pistols. Emmy has that Hero Vandal. See if she can make some work out of that one, but it's like a garage push this time around, right? Just gonna get a little bit of information. Don't need to commit to this one, right? It's still early in the round. And they've garnered that piece of map control, but in the meantime, Muffin has a full A lobby control. Look at the rotations coming in. Muffin is solo holding A as 4 players with Vandals, full buys onto the B and C site. Got this thing under lock and key. They take the garage, and do they check the corner? Falling down, they actually connect Azaruma and Twirly.
What an angle there. Still works out for him. Spam on through. And yeah, difficult eco for OGX now as Full Sense.
Last player standing.
More than likely poised to take the round here. Okay, that's one. Let's see, any more? The flank, rather the rotate, held off by
30
Muffin here,
seconds
so
left.
she should be aware, and now they know what's happening, so Full Sense be able to mitigate the amount of economic damage that OGX do on their attacking rounds, and they've been good at that. It's exactly
Second's gotta
what
get the
keeps
plant
Full
down.
Sense alive. Nah, there's no way. There's no way. He's not even gonna attempt the plant here. Just maybe try and get a kill. But the last none. Baby TZ, quick and easy. Full Sense, they take the lead.
Nice shut down, right? Again, look at the rotations. All 4 players here, and Margot with the jumping Vandal hit shot. We'll just convert this round. Peeps did what she could, but yeah, at this point in time, not much time on the clock in a 1 versus for pre-plant, that is a incredibly difficult situation. But they're going to be coming in with rifles this time around. They have that lockdown that they can work with, and a timeout called by OGX. I think a much needed one, right? I would say Haven is sort of a slightly attacker-sided map, so they should be trying to win out this half at the very least. 4 rounds from FS Sapphire so far. Not the worst thing in the world. They can still come back into this. They can still technically win out this half, but they've got to start here and they got to start now.
A good timeout, I think, right? You stop it from continuing
Steamrolling
on
too
the
far,
momentum. Yeah, just steamrolling, avalanching, snowballing, whichever way you want to do it, runaway train. You have to stop that momentum early. You're in the attacking side here on Haven, the favored side of all things on this map, and you're going to have a difficult spot to be put in a difficult spot to close out the second half at a deficit if this continues on. So at least there is a lockdown in place here for OGX, and if you're able to get the site early without having to use that, they can use it for the post-plant to burn more time, because they're going to need to, knowing that the Cosmic Divide is available here on Poly.
It's like it might be a C split on the cards, all 5 players towards that C position. A little bit of fading towards other parts of the map, but execute's going to be coming in nice and fast. The split comes in through, and there's 2 players already on the C side for Sapphire.
Here comes a push. They know it's going to hit. Garage control theirs for the meantime. Oh, that's a dangerous smoke, but luckily nobody playing within it. There is a bit of position there towards that back side, but I think they got a Nova Pulse on it to keep them at least stunned. The scan confirms that presence, confirms backside is being occupied. And now look at this. Difficult position. Baby TZ taken down. Twirly with a second.
Wow.
Casper follows up, and the complete overrun of the C side puts Full Sense in shambles. Whoop. Okay. Deny the plant, but that's about it. 4v1. No way Muffin comes out of this on top, and yeah, nice round. Clean and pristine from OGX.
It was a well thought out round, right? You saw them cooking from the very beginning with that lockdown in place. Twirly had the most beautiful, I guess, routing onto the side, right? Cleared out logs, cleared out backside, and then her teammate was able to clear out. Oh, and then she stopped the rotations coming into the site. And it's just flawlessly done coming in from OGX. Well thought out, and Sapphire now brought back to an even score line. The op is in the hands of Muffin. Let's see if she can get any damage towards A-Lobby.
It's a round of quality for sure. Ooh. The peek on here, easy pickings for Muffin this time around, who just picks any berry she wants. It's Emmy going down. They've been losing Emmy early in some of these attacking rounds, and typically when they do, they struggle to further get themselves into the site. A comp like this relies a lot on the executing and hit power of a breach. And you can't keep losing Emmy early.
Slight thing to note, right? Because they have a Sova instead of the Fade, they don't have the Prowlers to really push back the op. So Muffin can just stand here and just rain terror, at least show presence, right? It's very risky to walk into a site where a Jet with an op is holding, but they're still willing to. They're still pushing the issue. 4 versus 5 against 3 players within the site. They've got to get fantastic entries if they want to win this round. And they're all situated towards that short position.
Yeah.
They're up in hand as well. They're going to potentially put Casper on that lurk. But with a 3 versus 3 isolated towards the A side, it's going to be a tall task for OGX.
Yeah, big stun here. Shorty comes on out, doesn't connect. Twirly can still win this fight. Dashes back out. Leered and pulled in because of the tether. And 3v2 as the dust settles. Muffin still alive here. Look at that defensive smoke. Keeps him alive in this position so far. Trapped, but aware. Aruma gets the one. Polly on the drop down. They know where she is. And Casper off with the flank. Coming in from B in the A link. Really clutches out the round here for OGX. What a recovery off of a difficult situation.
It was a 3 versus 3 within the side. The trades actually favored the defense. Sapphire had all the time in the world. Look at this 1v1. Crucial, and then from the back lines, a lineup for the ages. Casper takes down the 2 rotators. If she missed that opportunity, surely Iruma would have gone down and they would have lost the round. So big props to Casper, arriving just when they needed her to.
I mean, having a player like her who we've already seen deliver in big clutch moments during map number 1, it's not out of character to do it again here on round number 2, and a small slip up, you know, assuming all players were on site, just the amount of time delayed as well, it wins him out in the end here in the favor of OGX. You can see the defense, they were pretty prepared. They had that short position on lockdown, and then defensive smoke to help the entry there on towards that A site. They also had the fault line prepped towards where they were coming from Ginny, and all of that connected, and yet still OGX able to outgun and outshoot their way out of a bad spot.
Finn will still be bringing that off into this round. They're not gonna give up on that idea just yet. They are all on half armor though, so that might be, you know, maybe something we can talk about if that comes into play. But for the time being, she's still gonna have full control over A lobby, but the attack towards the C site, 2 players here to receive. As Executes comes in.
Here comes in the push. We talked about it. Twirly, good for the one. Baby TZ, a double for her. And Ginny chimes on in on the fight. 3v2. Rolling Thunder connects, but Casper able to get into safety for the meantime. Concealed, but they will still find her in the nick of time. Peeps gives herself away, could not connect, and full sense. They just respond immediately with a blitz of a retake of a round.
These rounds going back and forth all the time. OGX have always walked into a side with very, very strong anchors, but still they managed to almost pull things over the edge. But that Rolling Thunder really, really sealed the deal. Isolated that 1 versus 1 in Garage on Casper. So, you know, if things continue as they are, we might just end up with a 6-6 half, and Muffin still going for that op as she does. She can buy in for the armor, but she's not going to be opting to for that one. Twirly with the knives. Dashing straight into short though. There's a big fight to take, and Twirly actually beats out Baby TZ. And across the map, right? Isolated 1v1 fights. Polly goes down. That just smokes. That's quite a bit of, well, essentially all your delays, your Sentinel and your controller, out of that round.
Well, it's difficult to try and play that retake now that you don't have the smoke, and you can't burn time because you lost both your controller and that Sentinel. So it's going to force Full Sense now to be a bit more active. You can see them pushing forward, trying to gain that active information now and see exactly where things are going to come, because they can't just anchor down still. B site off of their recon alerts him to what's to come. They do have a flank watch here off of Japeeps too, as well as some utility. Let's see, if they find Japeeps here, they have a real good chance. Oh, no way, she's still alive. No way she's still alive for that long. And the room is able to play off of it too. I can't believe that just happened.
Japeep's living in the Matrix. She's not all of the bullets.
The shots are like landing right beside her head, and she's just chilling, dodging, weaving back and forth like a boxer. Look at all this. Great stuff from Aruma as well to help. Yeah. Good
These
help
calls from OGX to actually push the B side in the mid rounds is actually pretty nice to see. They know that Full Sense Sapphire want map control. They want information. They are going to push on the extremes of the map. And this time, an extreme push coming through. Oh, the lighter! Muffin finds the first frag. What? The timing hit shot. Blinded through the smoke. OGX stabilized. 3 versus 3. They push back on that aggression. Gain back this piece of map control.
Crazy round there from Muffin. Doesn't matter if she can't see, as long as she's got her other senses. She can feel, she can smell, and that's good enough. And she can hear, of course. But 3v3 typically favors the attacking side, and now it definitely does, as they find both picks here to force Baby TZ into a clutch. Another one for Full Sense.
She's very aggressive. She wants to find an opportunity. Yes, the spike going down. Oh, she finds the player behind Casper, but Casper won't allow things to get too out of hand. 7-5 is the halftime scoreline as OGX win out that round despite this crazy start coming in from Muffin.
Yeah, just a small frame of reference is all she needed to connect the shot. Definitely a nice attempt on in here. You can see Baby TZ trying to get ahead of the lockdown there, but incredible stuff from both sides, really. It's another 7-5 as the dust settles, but with OGX at the advantage. Our panel, though, I'm pretty sure they want to talk about this.
Thank you, gentlemen. 7-5 for halftime. Raf, what are OGX doing right this time around?
Well, OGX, they're playing their game and they still remain, I guess, unrattled from the first map. And I feel like this is such a great thing. I would say, though, on the side of FSS, they're a little more risky, especially with the way that they have been approaching their fights. There was, I think this was round 11, where, again, they had all their bases covered. There was no real weak side as Polly, up until that point, was being utilized so well. But then she pushed out of Garage unsupported without even any flashes, which I feel like was a small mistake that opened up the snowball potential on the side of Orangutan. And Orangutan, they have been very, very tempered. They're waiting. They, again, recognize this trait of FSS to be a little overeager when it comes to early map control, especially when Muffin has that operator. I love the confidence still, but again, they're just putting themselves in riskier situations.
Colton also was bringing up just about the difference between Margot on the Fade as well as the Japeeps on the Sova. Without the Fade, it's a bit harder for you to try and push into that operator. How do you think this is going to fare in the second half?
I think it's gonna pan out the way it has been happening in the first half. You know, the range is definitely in the favor of Japips plus her mastery of the agent, but with spots like Garage and Sewer, I would definitely say that Fade dominates that. It allows Full Sense to just go wild and absolutely go ham in their gunfights.
All right, really quickly before we get back into game, are we seeing OGX being able to close this one out or no?
Yes.
All right, guys, we're about to find out. Gentlemen, back to you.
Well, big faith by our panel on where they think this game is going to go. But I think that so far, Sapphire have been doing a good job. We see, even though OG have the advantage, that was on the attacking side, and you saw a lot of rounds kind of struggle. But now if we're flipping on the defense, what do you think, Cold?
I think we're in for a pretty tight series. These two teams have been neck and neck. You know, the difference is minute, and this time around, Full Sense Sapphire, Full sending the A side, seems 2 players on OGX, Watsuas, and they've got a lot on their plate. They want to push out the issue, they want to get control of that position as the execute comes in, Twirly on the cards. Actually, Japeep's the one to open up this round.
Yeah, they have the site for themselves, and they shut down the peek in from VCT, and as they completely decimate that Sewer's position, you know, flush out any rats, kind of waiting for them to come on in. It puts OGX in a difficult spot, and this is what I was worried about for OGX if you're an OGX fan. The attacking side here, Full Sense, on Haven is one to be noted, one to be feared. The stun, post plant, okay. Shots connecting, but while it was close, not too much for comfort. Full Sense take the pistol.
You can tell a person's
That was a beautiful pincer actually towards that A-shot position where Twirly and Japeeps were actually kind of surrounded. They wanted to take the fight towards A lobby, but a bit of indecision, not really committing to either push the flank or fight the execute on the site. Actually costed them the round because then they were completely pincered from both directions. They couldn't really fight 2 fronts at the same time. And yeah, despite the heroics coming in from OGX at the very last moment, right, a couple of nice hit shots, it's not enough to win them the round as Full Sense will collect that first round. Second one coming in on the cards, just pistols on the hands. OGX as Full Sense Sapphire, right, they are just gonna butcher this A side till it's, you know, well, all in their control. They've just got to get a bit of positioning, put that turret down for any information. They're going to go and explore. They don't want to walk into any stacks, right? That's the last thing you want to do against an eco. But that rotation being spotted out, right? Casper ready to receive 2 players, 3 players on the defense here to, you know, collect these aggressive attackers. Can they find anything though? Nice headshot coming from Casper, and Twirly finds one as well. This eco run is going absolutely bonkers.
This is what you talked about, Coldan. You do not want to run into the Horde, into the Zerg, when they're stacked on the site. And OGX, they've been trying it since Fracture to have these type of eco round holds work. Nobody checking out Casper, absolutely sending them into a confusing state. And OGX capitalize off of all that. Only 3 players on the site, but that's more than enough, if especially don't check Casper there in the corner.
How many headshots did she get? Every single shot almost felt like an instant dink, and that's gonna rock the socks of Full Sense Sapphire. Now the tables have turned. OGX now have the weapon advantage, and they're not afraid to fight. They're not afraid to tango. Outside a couple of players, but yeah, look at this. The aggression with a bit of utility. Oh. Wait a minute.
Nice shot from Ginny. That's an alert here to OGX, not to get too comfortable. To us as well. Emmy, only good for 1, but Baby TZ's quick on the trade. They can overrun Muffin here, who does get at least fends off Twirly.
Gun here.
And now they have a 4v2, so Full Sense looking to return the favor and win an eco in return.
Okay, I guess both sides just work better with the lesser weapons. Casper, can she pull off any more heroics? She did it in the previous round. And they want to push the CT position. They know where the last 2 players are.
Yeah.
What crossfires can you garner? Into the side, the takeaway smoke. Back on the spike itself, Ginny finds a nice frag, and Casper goes down as well. So a forced buy with lesser weapons actually go back in the favor of Sapphire this side.
Sapphire doing a good job there of making sure that there wasn't an isolated fight, that there was always somebody ready to trade, always somebody ready to pull a bit of attention and shake off the opposition, and once more be that killer to whoever's hunting down the opposition. So nice eco round from both sides. Different ideas, obviously, you're the attack or defend, but the way they're able to do it comes down to one thing: coordination and teamwork. So keep that up. OGX, they got the op here in the defense.
Finally a switch up, right? Instead of these rifles, you bring out the big op in what, the 4th round? But that's not the site again. Full Sense Sapphire, they've attacked the A site 3 times already. And they bring home this win this time around. Ruma spotted out, and Execute is actually in the favor of OGX. The defense holding strong. Aruma still alive towards short. Poly finally finds the frag, but it puts themselves to a man disadvantage situation. 4 versus 3, and Margot is on a sliver of HP. Anything that just blows in the direction would knock her off. What can they do on this retake? Swapping out the guns.
Yeah. Big stuns. Big haunt. Big hold here. Post-plan retake. Advantage. Ginny in a precarious spot. Japeeps drops on down. And not a fight put up by Full Sense with a disadvantage there. As OGX to take another round. So it's a back and forth between these two with nobody really stabilizing just yet. FS to got a bye.
Wow, I could not have expected this start to the second half, right? Both teams unrelenting. The A side, both of them love it. This time around, OGX with a fantastic retake, all flooding out from heaven, right? They realize there's a player pushing CT, holding that position. So they instead take the high road, flying out of that little window of theirs. And they secure the round in a pretty convincing fashion. So back and forth these rounds, 2 rounds each in the second half. And another gun rounds on the cards. Again, A lobby, the name of the game for both of these teams.
Well,
one player, Aruma, only one towards A.
Operator not really poised to stop this push. Aruma, difficult spot. Luckily the fault line's there to kind of buy him some space. So much utility being thrown out here. But still Aruma comes out on top on the fadeaway though. Baby TZ catches out and clears the corner for the trade. 4v4 on either side. The operator here for OGX on that retake, and another flank attempt to come on in here from Casper.
Just waiting for Casper, right? They gotta buy some time. Make them all focus towards the side. Make them think that there's no flank coming through. Casper will work her way towards A long. They're just waiting on this. And this execute could be absolutely devastating. Twirly grabs the dash. Oh, taken out of the sky, but Casper here on that flag. She's wreaking havoc. She's killed every single player except Baby TZ, left in a 1 versus 2. Barely any HP, but her presence just staying alive. I think she's won it.
What? She gets a kill. The time
is
there enough? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, that's it.
No.
Buying
way.
just enough time for it. And even with a great flank attempt here from Casper, you see how they had the turret. for this flank being placed down by Baby TZ. And she smoked it off because they thought it was clear, so they didn't assume it. They didn't think that Casper would have pushed up this far due to them not hearing that turret being smoked off. It allows Casper to get a great spot to really help out for that retake and really win them the round potentially, but with just enough time burned, Nano Swarm on the spike and the peak off of it, Baby TZ, another clutch here in the series to keep the game close.
And a timeout call by Sapphire. That round, yeah, you won it, but it was way too close. I mean, these retakes coming from OGX have been so beautifully done. This time around, just a little bit late on that execute, right? That cost them that round. The delay coming in from Baby TZ, just a bit too much to handle. But other than that, they have 5 ultimates on the cards as well. Full Sense Sapphire. Yeah, I can only imagine what they're cooking up for this round, right? They have so many options. You could go for a Killjoy lockdown of the site if they get towards Garage, or a short. Those are 2 great positions to use the lockdown. Other than that, they have the Nightfall as well as Rolling Thunder, which is fantastic for executes, as well as delaying retakes, which is something that OGX have really leaned into. So if they can keep a couple of these ultimates in their post plan, I think that's going to serve them really, really well going into this next round.
Well, Full Sense looking to tie the game up here right now. And OGX are the ones who are in a more precarious spot because you look at their economy, not the best one to support to buy if they lose this at the very least. As you said, they got the Blades, Lockdown, and Hunter's Fury for the retake. Lots of ults on either side to throw.
Oh, this smoke allows them to just rat onto the A side itself. Twirly finds the first one. Muffin and Margot both find the trade frags, and yeah, slow burn this one. One by one, these frags go in the favor of Full Sense Sapphire. This time around, they aren't leaving any corners unchecked. And this will double man advantage. Despite the HP being so low, they're still gonna go for Eruma, using that lockdown.
Retake here to come in from OGX. 4v2. That's not going to burn it. Different patch now, and it's going to force them all back towards that A main position. They have to anticipate this right now. How do they play against it? Nightfall's still available. They can throw even more util on this. Gravity Well to deny the defuse attempt here. Ruma still gets a kill off of it, but they have no idea off of Ginny's position right now. It's such a great spot to stop this from happening. Gets the one, and they win the round even if she doesn't get the kill there, so... Full Sense, another hold, and they tie up the game off of it.
I'd say a bit of a questionable ult, right? It's a 2 versus 4. You have no control over the site whatsoever. You don't have any smokes. I mean, you do have a smoke, but you don't have enough players to play around that smoke. The delay is fantastically done by Sapphire. Ginny just crept at the back lines. And another round, due to time, winning out by Full Sense Sapphire. If they keep this up, this post-plant denial has been working out pretty well for them. And on the other hand, right, OGX now on a low buy of theirs. They have the Hunter's Fury, that's the only ult they have. And again, a lobby simulator takes a heads-up duel against Japeeps. The lower buy, Marshall of theirs actually sings true. Nice headshot. They get that man advantage at the very least.
Lockdown here. This time a bit more advised in the 4v5. They have the better weapons. Hunter's Fury could be used to destroy it, but they're going for the different option. They can use it for the retake here to try and shake him up as the hit comes.
We hear the spike going down in that position, and Japeeps actually catches up to Polly. That's a big frag to find. The double flank as well, so keep an eye out on that one. They're going to be pincered into the site.
Here comes that pincer exactly now, as you said. Casper good for the one. They know it's coming. They know Graffiti is poised as well. Twirly absolutely popping off here. The OGX squad and simply overrun the defensive hold on the post plan from Full Sense. As we say, they use that Hunter's Fury to shake loose the hold. The flank comes on in, the pincer, and once more, Full Sense, they fall prey to that A main push that we saw them do a while ago.
Face your fear!
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, why aren't you checking the flank?
Yeah.
I mean, they've smoked off the turret twice. At least, this is at least the second time that they've done it. Casper, again and again, fooling Baby TZ. And because of the turret, right, the fact that it wasn't even being destroyed, it gives false info. It's not the fact that they aren't checking the flank, it's because there's no reason to, right? But this adaptation has to come in now. And as Sapphire, you have to realize, why isn't my turret detecting 2 flankers? So they have to keep an eye on that, especially if they want to continue on this A main duel too early. In a nice corner, this double setup towards short, this time with rifles. Can they hold on?
Have to do something about it. Let's see exactly now. Twirly, good on the one. They know of her position. Don't exactly have the best spot of their own to try and force a fight here. As the crossfire is proving to be difficult. Muffin cannot connect with the blades. A classic. Never mind. She still buys the space in full sense. They recover off of this, and it's been just a back and forth for both of these sides. And full sense, they've been doing a good job on taking the site. It's always been their post plant where OGX have been killing them.
Here.
This is a tough crossfire to break apart. Oh, but what? Casper just sprays down Baby TZ and Polly. Spinning on a dime. The turret herself, top of the scoreboard and topping this round as well. A clutch coming in from her.
Defend this reality.
I mean, I literally
a
just said
deal.
it before the round started, right? They've been doing good on taking the sites, but it's on the retakes where OGX have been killing them. Now, typically, it's when Orangutan have, like, maybe a set position in terms of having equal odds. But in this case, 3v2 in the favor, supposedly in full sense. And they've been using that smoke time and time again where they smoke off that held position to allow them to cross, to allow them to simply focus in on Graffiti. And OGX, they're looking pretty good right now in these retakes.
Again, I'm not sure if they got possessed by Team Secret or something because they are loving this A site.
I guess to Raph's point a while ago in the panel, whoever has more Pinoys on their team is probably going to do better on Haven. It's one of those maps that a lot of Philippine players like to stay at and grind over and over. So who knows? Maybe he's onto something. But Aroma, what? Off of the spam? A double? She's the reason why they're nerfing the amount of ammo you get in a Vandal next patch.
What is that round?
They're overrunning them. Another retake, Koldan. Almost absolutely flawless in the end too.
I need to see that shot through the smoke. What? He's running for
One,
both.
2, no way. Absolutely.
What?
The gods are fortuning her, looking down and smile widely upon her. To get that fortune, a double off of the
That was the most
spam.
ridiculous spam I've ever seen in my life. I'm not kidding. 2 headshots while running through a smoke with a Vandal. I got the words. Everything OGX is doing the past 3 rounds. Retakes on the A side and full send Sapphire, they are none the wiser. I mean, this stubbornness from them, I would say, going back to A every single round, no default whatsoever. They're just going for a full execute every single time, and they're being beaten time and time again. 3 rounds in a row, 4 times the charm, I guess.
Here comes in that push. Lockdown will buy
break?
them some
The
time.
nano
No,
smoke?
aftershock. Oh, they do get
It does.
rid of it. So
The nano
done
through
here?
the wall.
Yeah. Now they have a hold. Let's see. Another retake
flank
from
this time.
OGX.
Right here.
So many flashes, so many smokes. 5 versus 5. Zuma finds the first pick. Ginny finds one as well. They're flooding into it. Behind the smoke and mirrors, Baby TZ and Muffin mop up the floor. They prevent things from going into OGX's favor and delay it for 1 more round at the very least.
They keep it alive. Keep the game going. Keep these rounds stringing, and this time around, full sense, able to make the adjustment, recognize how these retakes have been working out for OGX, and look at this.
That's a difference.
Full sense,
There's
they're going
no
to
flank.
A again.
And that double, I have no clue. I mean, that was really close. The difference in that retake was that there was no flank on OGX. You realize that there was no one there to really pincer them. Oh, this time around, both of the players towards the A side actually find frags each. Waiting for his teammate. Twirly releases the bullets in her chamber. 1 by 1, they fall down. She's being wrapped though. Can she actually find another kill? Yes, she does. 1 player remaining. Polly, what else can she do but bow down to the queens of OGX? 4 kills in the round. Does OGX secure it? with their victory, denying them the stubborn push towards the A side time and time again. But they will walk out victorious this time.
Yeah, a bit hard-headed there. Coming in from Full Send Sapphire, just wanting to hit that A site over and over and over, going for the no mix-up, and they pay a hefty price for it. It allowed Orangutan to get comfortable in how they play their attacking side and how they play their executes, not shaking them on up, and in this case, early aggressive push from the Orangutan squad, it seals the deal.
Yeah, this time they didn't play short, they played long, right? The Japeeps as well as the Jet was playing towards that A long position instead of short, and that actually allowed them to get more space, right? Allowed them to catch Full Send Sapphire off guard, and that really, you know, that small little change really just secured them that round. Of course, I mean, that was insane coming in from Full Send Sapphire. I don't think I've really seen a team abuse A as much as that, as stubborn as that, but you know, if you go up against a team like OGX, they will stamp their foot down. They will ensure that you will pay the price if you don't adapt in time.
And well, that adaptation just didn't come in time, as you say. Maybe for map number 3, as we go on to it, things can change. But for the meantime, we are your casters. It's our panel who have got something to say. And so, what do you guys think about that one?
Thank you, gentlemen. OGX look like they've finally woken up just in time to tie up that series 1-1. Raph, what do we think about that one?
I'm telling you, if it's Haven and there's a bunch of Filipino players on that squad, they're probably gonna win. But again, just going back into just the strategy of the game, I understand why Full Sense really wanted to repeatedly hit A main, and again, it's a tale as old as time, really. A main is probably one of the most committal defenses you have to do as a defender, because there's really no easy way of going out of sewers. Yes, you get an early pick if you have an operator, or even if you have Vandal if you choose to do so, but the amount of utility that you're risking yourself, or rather exposing yourself to, is just so difficult to overcome. And OGX, despite having, I would say, a few woes here and there, and ultimately really both these squads had some really peculiar rounds. There were ecos upon ecos where you would think, oh no, Full Sense is not going to win this. Oh no, OGX is not going to win this. But they did anyway.
Yeah, looking at the scoreboard, I mean, Casper topping the charts for OGX right there, 23-11, 264 ACS on the Astra. Baby TZ once again coming up roses for the squad of Full Sense Sapphire, despite their loss, but 13-10 is pretty close. One thing I wanted to highlight and talk to you about, Raph, also was that it's not just Casper on the Astra that is showing up big on this squad, right? You're talking about how Poly on FSS Sapphire is also playing very well, and just they're being both sides able to maximize the fact that they have that Astra on their team.
Absolutely. And again, it was so hard to really pick apart the defense on the side of Sapphire when they were defending, just because Poly was just on top of it. Again, if there was any need for additional utility on the weak side, then Poly was the person you could count on. But again, OGX on Haven, absolutely lethal. Surprisingly, we don't have that many clutches really in totality. I mean, we only have one, and that was on the side of Sapphire. But I really like how both these teams operate, especially on a macro level. I am a little worried about the next map though, especially for OGX. Looking at these highlights, Jenny, again, it's so flashy. Really, both these teams, when it just comes to fighting, there's just so many flashy plays.
I'm just wondering if that Vandal, if that 2 Vandal heads up and the smoke is gonna make its way in here. Just cause, like, come on, you see plays like that, you see those sort of clips that go on like TikTok and on social media, and you're like, that's gotta be luck. I mean, sure, there was a lot of skill involved, but that's also gotta be luck, right? Like, for like a couple seconds of your life, you just get kissed by God, and then those shots will land. But man, I want to see that again.
Oh my goodness, that's tilting. Honestly, if that were to happen to me, I would have some choice words already. But at the same time, our players here are all very professional, very calm, and again, the recovery by everybody to just kind of keep it going was as impressive. But I heard your laugh. Casper's not laughing though. MVP again.
Yeah, that's just the rate at which this girl picks up those MVPs is just absolutely insane. Absolutely deserved too. I mean, 32.3 headshot percentage this time around. Actually, if my brain doesn't fail me for a second, I think that her MVP when she got it yesterday and math through her headshot percentage was actually 22.3, 22 point something. And then yesterday we were already like, oh, you know, that's fair, that's respectable. I'm gonna give you that. But 32.3, just improving, just showing up once again. 157.7 damage per round. It's pretty fair. But I mean, Casper, just not only the fact that she's able to accumulate such high ACS consistently, because we always talk about how she is that rock of the team. She's the one, like, you know, comes in with the squad as well. And generally, when you look at a lineup from a team, you don't generally expect like players who are able to fulfill that emotional like role also to consistently show up big, because usually like no one person can have the bandwidth to do that every single map. But you know, not everyone is Casper.
That's true. And that's a huge part of the game, you know, before we head on to short break. Do you have any choice words, Ray Richu?
For like when I get Vandal headshot one tapped in smoke, or
I don't know. That's up to you.
Oh my god, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean 2-1 going into Lotus next round. I'm excited. You're excited, guys. I'm sure all of y'all back home are excited too. We're going to go for a really short break before we come back with that deciding map 3. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back, guys, to map 3 of Series 1 between FS Sapphire and Orangutan X. Orangutan, of course, coming off the backs of a red-hot Haven win. But I think the big question on everyone's minds is, do they have much left in that tank for a map 3 victory to close out the series, Raph? What do you think?
I'm thinking of giving Wingman another fist bump here. There you go. But I feel like it's a little worrying on Lotus because it is very attacker sided, I would say. And again, I just feel like on the side of Sense, they have a little more textbook and traditional approach to the game, especially on how they want to break down the map. They really want to establish a strong point, a perhaps like a conditioning tool, a really how do I put this, tangible, again, conditioning tool. For example, for Haven, they really tried their best with using A main as their leverage, but obviously Orangutan weathered that storm and held their own very well. On Lotus, I feel like they might do the same and just kind of pivot off the success they may find on that A main, but at the same time, Orangutan, they've been, again, improving just bit by bit with their defense. At times, it feels like FSS have their number no matter what they do. If they want to go for a play that's focusing on the punishes, or if it's focusing on just kind of turtling up, FSS have had the more appropriate responses, especially with how quickly they've been adjusting.
Yeah, and that's the thing also, right? Because Orangutan X did play that Lotus once yesterday. If you're FS Sapphire and you've had time in between yesterday and today to go do a little bit of VOD review, you're probably also going to have a better idea of what Orangutan X want to run for this map 3. I'm getting so distracted by that wingman. Guys, we saw a lot of love in chat for Twirly. I think Twirly's got a lot of supporters over in the chat. Do you think that we'll maybe see her bust out that neon once again on Lotus? Do you think there's a good chance we'll see the double sky? How are we feeling about the Asian compositions for map 3?
I think Neon's actually not a bad pick for Lotus. Again, there is a lot of creativity that could be had and a lot of choices to be made as an attacker that the sustained pressure that a Neon can provide, especially in the hands of Twirly, will really shine. Question is, how do they handle everything that does stop Neon? Margao, an absolute terror on that fate, if that may ever come on, or rather on this map. But you did mention the double sky. I feel like Orangutan would be the type of team to actually go double controller instead of double initiator. And with that being said, maybe we'll see some Viper action on this map, have a little bit of Omen. You still have that flash, you still have that paranoia and ability to reposition. So with all of that being said, I'm just excited to potentially see a 5 duelist here too. SMG did it. They're probably going to do it at one point in time. Again, we've seen crazier things.
Yeah, we've definitely seen crazier things. Guys, if you're watching or a stream right now, so if you've got multi-Twitch or a dual monitor setup going, don't forget to also check out the main channel where SMG is in the middle of their series versus GE Phoenix. And we don't want to leak too much, but they're SMG doing classic SMG things once again, cooking up whatever is on the menu for tonight. But looking at the Asian compositions that are coming out for both these squads for map 3. You called it, Raph. I mean, it's going to be the Viper on both sides, Sky for both these teams as well. And it's actually, wow, this was not what we were expecting, because we were always talking about how Lotus is one of those maps that lends itself to a lot of flexibility in terms of Asian compositions. So the fact that both these teams are going for this mirror, ooh, I'm excited. Oh, this is just going to come down to which side plays the exact composition better. Raph, what are your thoughts?
I think Emmy is going to be an absolute threat wherever she's going to be placed, because she really did had an explosive debut when she played on this map not too long ago, which was actually just yesterday. So I think OGX might have a bit of a rocky time, but man, full sense with the momentum that they've got themselves. Swiss stage till now, still persevering and still going on.
All right. Well, I mean, mirror matchup, anything could happen. It's just going to come down to strats and execution and just that difference in gun skill. Black and Down, guys, take it away.
I'm not sure if that's the tandem name we've signed up for, but we're gonna stick with it for the meantime. I'm Black and Blue, with me is Coldan, and both of these teams recently coming off of a win on Lotus. The last time we saw them play yesterday, but the difference here is Orangutan have now come back in this series to retaliate after that opening loss. So I really like what I saw, I think, from Orangutan during map number 2, but can they bring it to another 3-site map here like Lotus?
I think Lotus is a similar map to Haven, right? It's very, very focused towards one position of the map. Again, it's going to be the rubble position, or a main, I guess you could say. So I think a lot of fights are going to be happening towards that part of the map. And again, whoever wins that will have a lot of control over rotations, over options that they can push towards different parts of the map. So I'm curious to see how both of these teams want to take it. Will Full Send Sapphire, repeatedly smack the A side again and again? Or will things shape up differently? OGX on this attacking side, they're creeping up contact play towards this A portion of the map, and there's actually nobody within the A side itself. So full retake setup for Full Send Sapphire as they get ready for this pounce towards the side itself.
Yeah, look at both teams where their Viper walls are placed, one over the other on top of each other. So
wait.
We're not even sure exactly whose wall is up right now. We're going to find out in a sec when he pushes through it to see if there's any decay, but push on here. Oh, that's a big Trailblazer. Will allow them to wrestle control away from the backside itself as they push on in. Lots of presence within here. Casper, they're actually able to use this wall against him here, get behind him. They're not aware of this positioning, and because of that, OGX are able to win most of the fights, but still, Ginny, retaliation, response, trapped here on the drop. They can't even attempt to plant because of all this presence here, and Emmy finally gets the kill that they need. Oh, but Ginny responds too. It's a back and forth, Coldan. The plant can't be stuck. They know they're close. They have to fend them off.
Heads up duels. Baby TZ finds the first down to 1 versus 1. But Baby TZ, she don't lose those. She's cold in the clutch and she wins out another round. It looked like OGX was gonna get the spike down, but the presence itself coming in from Full Send Sapphire forced them to take these heads up duels. And well, when you put Baby TZ in a 1 versus 2, she will do the unthinkable.
Nicely done here from Baby TZ. Classic in hand. And then the Ghost off of the pickup for the second follow-up there. In full sense. Initially, OGX were able to bypass him, settled in the 4v3 because of that wall, but they placed it once more here towards the attacking side. And what's curious, rather the A side, and what's curious about this wall is that on the attack, it doesn't necessarily gain you the deep control that you'd want, but it does fend you off safer for that push from mound into the tree, and vice versa for the defense as well. It allows you to retake that early part of A main when trying to retake that A side a bit more, but across is when it becomes difficult, so it can really be precarious for both sides how this Viper wall is placed.
Off the fade of this smoke, they're gonna be pop flashing through this corner. Gotta be careful, Muffin. On bat for a couple of eco kills, but there's a bit too many players just in front of her position, so that she's gonna fall back to a safer avenue together with Margot in the site itself. But that's map control. Like OGX has pushed Full Send Sapphire all the way back towards the C side, and they're gonna go for a full rotations all the way towards A. Again, just one player standing. It's Polly around her own Viper's wall. She hears the rotations coming through and she will call for this rotate. The door is opening and this snake bite denies them entry. Fantastic delay utility just in the nick of time, and spots out a couple of players and the rotations are already here, so tries they might. OGX walking into a stack site.
Yeah, they're ready for this. Full sense, simply decimate them
Down
at the door. Knock knock they do, but
left.
full sense, they don't leave the door open here. Naruma's left all alone. No real chance in the round. Should be a flawless by all means. A triple there for Full sense. I can't believe that Muffin, backing off of that C mound, was able to get away literally unscathed.
Yeah, and the stall utility coming out from Polly. Look at this snake bite. It just causes all of them to be vulnerable. And then it's just an easy mop up above their players. And that's what you want from your anchor, right? You don't want your anchor to be over-rotating. You want her to just stay still, stay put on towards the A site, and use her utilities to perfection. So coming into this round, right, it's the bonus from Full Send Sapphire, They have all of their saved weapons of the previous round, so they can still pack a decent punch. We'll just have to see how they want to make use of these close-range weapons. Oh, this pop flash coming through, tapping the ultimate orb and actually baiting the push coming through early here to receive. The smoke to buy them a bit of cover for their retreat.
I'm surprised that they weren't able to get at least some damage or a kill off of that, so OGX here fortunate that they weren't punished in their position off of that flash too, which absolutely caught them. Paranoia, Muffin put in a difficult spot. She does get taken down early without much of a fuss, and this gains mountain control here for OGX, who are looking to execute on the C site.
Wow,
Oh.
nice entry.
The spam absolutely connecting there with a Spectre in on hand. OGX though still winning most of these fights. They got the better weapons. Baby TZ, difficult spot, no real chance. As OGX, they take the round in return.
I liked what they did at the early parts of the round, right? Despite them actually, not to say getting caught off guard, but they did tap the ultimate orb, right? They did note that there were 2 players towards B. And then they just gathered their forces and then went towards the C side. A good paranoia actually caught Muffin, right? And caused her to essentially go down without a single frag. That just allowed them to waterfall into the C side. So coming into this one, guns on both sides. Again, this time around, Fools and Sapphire putting a lot of pressure towards the A side. And look at this control that they've garnered, right?
Yeah.
They're actually forcing OGX to commit to a different side. This presence itself, they're content with playing retake on B. Right? They have a bunch of killjoy utility, and just breaking that, yeah, causes the wall to go back up. It's a slightly different one from the one we've been seeing so far. But OGX, quite dynamic, using the doors to their advantage. They are going to be committing towards the side, though.
For them to kind of flex off of it, right? Go towards the opposite side. Japeeps shuts down on here. Polly is trying to anchor a bit down. So 4v4. Flashes in return. Seekers confirmed there. Towards it close. Baby TZ on the spam, not connecting just yet. They're trying to go around this Viper's bit. They're trying to get themselves back up to fight. Emmy with a shotgun. They're holding on to the plant potential and not allowing the attempt to even go down.
Oh.
Full sense. Absolutely denying control here of this space. The peeps on the one that gives her the Seekers. Now they know where the rest of them are. And Baby TZ found and taken down. 2v2. They know double CT hold. They have a choice here. They still got time to rotate, but it's looking like they will go for the plant attempt.
Fools and Sapphire actually thinking twice. Ginny's now repositioned to waterfall. They're not sure of her position. The pinch coming through. An ace required, but Japeeps goes down within the smoke of Margu. And just like
Nicely.
that, the adaptation comes in pretty successfully for Fools and Sapphire. They were able to actually kill, who was it, Emmy, right, within her own Viper's Pit. And that just caused the attack to just fumble and fall apart at the very end.
Yeah. Just didn't have the stronghold positioning they wanted. Great attempt here from Japeeps. One of the only few players who's still stuck on this roster, aside from Casper, coming from that previous stage, coming from that previous split. And now this forces Orangutan on the timeout in a round that they definitely could have won.
Yeah, it really was a round that was... it seemed like it was going to go in OGX's favor, right? They had that Viper Spit down. It's an ultimate that you don't see very often being, coming up with almost no value, right? It was great. It allowed them to slowly flood into the site, but the problem is it was kind of isolated in the middle of nowhere. It allowed Fools and Sapphire to actually wrap around the wide side of the ultimate and then catch Emmy off guard. Right? There was one of the attackers on OGX on the site, but there wasn't one watching the water push. So that blind side effect coming in from the ultimate really, really cost them that round. And of course, a great adaptation in the 2 versus 2 to wrap around Ginny. Found a nice timing of her own, but this time around, right, do they want to abuse the A side yet again? Fools and Sapphire looks like that's on the cards. 3 players towards the A main position. There will be an A lobby push coming in from them. And again, OGX not willing to fight for it just yet. They're just going to be farming up these ultimate orbs as their default.
Here.
Showstopper available now for Muffin on Full Sense's side. That's going to be a problem on the pusher for OGX. They can use that to gain this round, put him up the 4th, and then have to play against the eco after. And this could be where Full Sense start to build their lead up early. They like taking this early rebel control, as we talked about a while ago. And because of that, it allows them to have more potential to push deeper later on. If the B hit does come, they can go for the flank. And here, that B hit does come. They still have link control as well. And Charlie is taking a beating trying to get within the sight as Ginny finally takes her down. Muffin off the swing. And this is what we're talking about, Goldan. This link control being such a menace, a problem for OGX to deal with.
And there wasn't any smoke towards heaven as well. They had just had free reign over players swarming through this tight little choke point that is the B site that the spike lost within the site. Ruma and Japeeps
30 seconds
both
left.
stuck outside B main, and Full Sense Sapphire, they're wary of any flanks, but that's not going to be the case whatsoever. Ruma and Japeeps just have to brute force this 20 seconds on the clock, holding for pushes, and actually find themselves to a 1 versus 2. Ruma actually could try to pull something off, but with such little time, the spike not even in the control just yet. Oh, she slips away, but yeah, without the spike in hand, I don't think it's going to be a very successful one, unless she flicks on a time, but not going to be happening this time around. Ginny going to be cleaning up that one and gains Full Sense Sapphire their 4th round.
Imagine if he hit that spray control too. Fortunate she didn't have ammo left, but who knows there. Things could have been a lot more delicate than it should have been. Still though, as he said, no smoke there towards that heaven, no utility to address possible A-link through that broken door, and just simply allows Full Sense to have such a great hold and really crossfire. A no man's land, if you will, established on that B side, which OGX just run into rightly. Oh. Well, quick B push here. Yeah.
Should be able to close things out.
Yep.
Nice 2 opening kills, right? But yeah, they're pretty spread out. This round almost falling flat just as it starts. They do have a couple of upgraded pistols, but not much they can write home about, right? The defense is still really, really strong. You have Viper and the Killjoy towards the C site. And the best bet is kind of towards B, and that is technically the least protected site, right? Just Bargu.
Yeah.
That Omen, Jiggle peeking. Don't want to give away any advantage whatsoever. If they can deny the spike, that'd be great. On the other hand, OGX, if they can find a pick, if they can find a spike plan, that could potentially slowly pull things in their favor. But
nice shot.
Sapphire content, holding their ground.
Bomb buddy out.
It's a 2v4 now. Still, even more difficult than they otherwise would have liked. Fake on the
30
door
seconds left.
with Aruma possibly
enemy
showing herself
remaining.
here towards C. They might assume it, but
Down B.
Muffin still finds a pick here off of Emmy. As Aruma wasn't able to pull the aggro that they were hoping for. All she can really wish for in this case is maybe a pick off here. But it's looking to be highly unlikely. Nano Swarm's in prep. The Poison Cloud as well in her face, and the turret giving her away. Full Sense, that's a 5th on the defense in 6 rounds. This is stellar so far from the Full Sense Sapphire defense.
We did mention, right, Haven and Lotus both heavily reliant on that A lobby, A main control, but we haven't really seen OGX really pushing towards A main a lot of the time. They did so at the early stages of this half, but as the rounds went on, Full Sense Sapphire just had free control over A. They can park one of their players there and then stack the rest towards the B and C sites. And look at this default push that they always use every single round. The nade in combination with the smokes, paranoia if required, the teleport as well. Look at this. They park Margu there, and they full rotate over towards B and C. This just puts so much pressure on OGX. They have to rush through a Viper, a Killjoy, and a rotating Raze and Sky. It's a recipe for disaster if they don't play this default.
Yeah, Full Sense are taking away a lot of the map that OGX otherwise would have loved to have. Showstopper connects. That gains them an early pick here. Off of the push. The counteraction here from Casper working on out. Showstopper of their own. They can use this to destroy this lockdown, but they can also just buy space off of it. And that they do. He still gets a kill on a baby TZ there off the corner.
Okay, brute force it is, I guess. Killjoy lockdown together with the showstopper
Spike
required. But they
planted.
still get the site. And they have a man advantage to the postman. This judge is going to be a pain in the butt
There.
for this retake.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see how they dismantle it though. 3v4. We saw OGX's post plans be a bit of a problem a while ago. Full sense here on the retake. Polly finds more than one, as her name would suggest as well. Peeps good on the one. The swing, a third for Polly, but Nano Swarms keep him at bay. 1v2. One's gonna have to tap, one's gonna have to swing. Aruma brings it to the 1v1, and now she's with an advantage here. Swings off of it and gets to second. OGX come back with a big round.
4 HP the difference, and OGX finally break their silence. After literally brute forcing into the side, showstoppers and lockdowns on both sides invested. But it was a showstopper on Twirly that actually allowed them access into the C site. This retake coming in, Polly did heaps to try to win out this round, but the time and the positioning play by Aruma to perfection forces Ginny to take a disadvantageous fight, dropping down and peeking out towards C main. But this time, a switch up. OGX finally going towards this A side, but they're not prepared for the paint shells as well as Margot so up close. And Casper still alive. Margot as well. This Omen hits a hit
Oh my
comes in the
goodness.
favor of Casper.
Big round here coming from Casper. She has been such what a shot here from Emmy off the spam with a bulldog as well. Do not fear just the bark, but the bite too. 3v2 here. It's now OGX Orangutan looking to swing their way into a third round. They have the From the Shadows here to clear out the site. That's exactly what they're going to do with it. Denies information early, but that's information in and of itself.
Yeah.
They can use this
They know at
wall
least
to
one
cross
is A.
now towards B. They have the right idea. Oh, no, they're pushing forward. They've sold it.
Love this.
And full sense
The
think
big
it's B.
break. Oh,
Oh, alarm bot.
but if Baby TZ walks too far away, her util's gonna deactivate. She's taking it back. It's free.
Timing. It just works out in their favor.
I
Now
just
can
hope they
fall
don't
behind
cook
them.
too much. OGX, I
30
think just
seconds
going
left.
towards A, no?
Yeah,
Oh, I
very
think
ambitious.
they think that someone's still towards A. They know that
Yeah.
there was one towards A, but they didn't know who.
Yeah.
They saw the Viper's leg, but now that managed to get their way towards the B side, full sense Sapphire. Here's the spike going down. Yeah, the jig is up. Most plans that can be played. They have a bunch of utilities to work around with as well.
Do they know the double CT retake is coming, though? That's a question.
One
Check the
enemy
right.
remaining.
Paranoia on out. Casper off the connection, and OGX still get it done in the end. They thought that A main was still occupied. Little did they know they had a completely free site, but it works out in the end, so no trouble.
Yeah, the paint shell slightly off the mark. I think if it was perfectly placed, Casper would have died immediately.
Yeah.
This frag through the smoke was a huge deal breaker. I mean, putting your team into an advantageous 3 versus 2 is such a difference than just being a 3 versus 3. You have so much more manpower. You have utilities as well. And that mid-round call from OGX, that teleport fight coming in from Casper, even though she wasn't the one that essentially got a kill here and there, but the information, the teleport, the cutting of the noise, all that little pieces of decision making added up. And OGX, with a flawless post-plan situation, well, they get themselves a third round, a much needed one. 5 rounds for Full Sense Sapphire on the defense is already a pretty sizable amount, right? You wouldn't be too sad or frustrated if you went into the attacking side with 5 defensive rounds, but they still have a chance to pull even more. So pressure still on the back of OGX. That was a nice round coming in from them, but we got to see more. We got to see them chain a couple more rounds together. Emmy buying up that judge. I think that's a pretty key feature right there. Could have bought a rifle actually, but because of the Viper's Pit, I think they want to use the pit to gain them access to one of the sites and then have a very devastating post-plan situation from there.
Well, I mean, 2 of the kills they found there were from spam through the smoke, so getting those for free, they'll take it. The Viper's Pit here towards that B site, and to see long that they decide to push in forward for now. And I really like how Full Sense have been playing their defense here. Very active, They love to take control away from OGX. This paranoia, though, it should connect on both. They have the same idea. The swing doesn't connect here off a Muffin.
Parallels in this match alone. Both Vipers buying up judges, both Omens using the paranoias at the exact same time. But who's gonna win the round though? Jumpy coming from Ginny, just spot a couple of players, and that's the port of call for OGX. They're gonna accelerate into this site. They have the weapons advantage as well. So with the smokes in tow, they should be able to secure this site. And yeah, Full Send Sapphire just playing a full retake setup. Emmy has the option to use the Viper Spit, right? That is an option, but I'm not sure they're going to use that up against the weaker weapons, which are arguably much more dangerous up close.
Well, OGX here on the push, on the hold rather, as they're still keeping bay of it. The jury's out, and OGX just completely stifle any kind of mixed buy attempts here from Full Sense. It's all started from this push here towards C-Long, which would have been really nice for the squad, but the counteracting paranoia catching them in the wrong time for Full Sense to use, and it's nicely done here. Very apt, very orangutan kind of round where they just have these timings that work out for them.
Yeah, and Sapphire's got to be careful, right? The economy in a bit of a dangerous situation. They lose this round, they will be put on an eco pressure towards B main again. This is something that OGX love to do, but around the corner, do they expect the Killjoy? The flash is golden, but no trade frag, or no frag at the very least. Information gone on both sides. Again, it's more than enough for OGX, right? They've shown presence. They've shown that they are willing to take B main control. They don't, at least they break the Killjoy alarm bot towards the B side as well, so they can just abuse other parts of the map. This time, putting pressure towards C. This is the default that I want to see from OGX, right? B main presence, C main presence, and then two players lurking towards A. The spike not committed just yet, and a fake coming in from Emmy. This Viper's Pit feigns presence, and Twirly actually catches onto the lone anchor towards the A side. There's a rotation for the Asian, OGX pulling the strings. The Puppet Master is Full Sense. Not sure what just happened to them, and just like that, in a post-run situation, 4 versus 4, with no foot in the door, what can Full Sense master on this retake?
4v4, but now the defense, they're the ones on the initiating side. How do they dismantle this Rebel? If you see where Aruma is, that's a big position that she can utilize to hold on to things. But now they're taking the front side, mid side theirs as well. Ginny with a double, forces it all into the hands of Aruma. We were talking about her being the one to have a big position, but she's left all alone here. Gets the one, has no real shot. And the mere presence of Baby Teasy there towards a B link, keeping the heads pointed towards that mid position, and everybody else from Full Sense poured on in from CT and overrun the site.
Ginny just destroyed all of them. Oh my gosh, the crossfires were not in place. The protocols missing. I didn't see a good crossfire in that situation. They were very easily broken apart, and Ginny just dismantling that retake. Oh, sorry, that post plan on that retake. A lost round for OGX. They had it in the back pocket. That was theirs to lose, and they did lose it this time around. Presence towards the A lobby. The wall being put up by Emmy. But I don't think that's going to stop them anytime soon. They still have control over that. And look at the rotations being pulled over. Again, OGX are playing this attacking side. They've adapted. They've realized how volatile Full Sense are in their rotations. And, you know, on such a large map such as Lotus, you can't cover every single part of the map. You have to have gambles a little bit. You have to push for information. Find picks. They do spot up Casper, so that's a little bit of information. But again, nothing to confirm, right? It's only one player. Spike not spotted at all. And they're playing in a really deep position if you look at all the Full Sense players.
Yeah.
The only one that's really within the site. Yeah, with this Baby TZ. This side, B main is the protocol.
Okay. They take the B side for them. And now this allows... They can find this kill in Margot for control, but it just doesn't come. Margot in and out, gets the one, and then she's done. She knows she's done her job. A second goes her way. And even off the rotation here on the late one,
Spike
there just
down.
simply isn't enough presence by Orangutan
enemy
to
remaining.
stop what Full Sense are doing. Chiming in, picking them off piece by piece. Catches Casper out in the end in Full Sense. They secure the advantageous half here on the defense of all things.
They had a fantastic start to this round, I would say. Like they pushed for information. They forced the rotations coming in from Full Sense Sapphire. They actually didn't really know which side OGX were going to commit into, but I feel like going into the B side is one of the worst options, I would say, because it's such a tight site. There's so many corners to clear, 3 entry points for defenders to retake it, and they kind of paid the price. They got caught in multiple positions on transition. This time around, it's a full 5-man effort towards the A side. Just one player here to receive. Polly, what can she muster?
Well, she's a lot to do here. Big task up ahead. Casper takes her on down. Twirly low, taken down by the paint shells. You don't even need a showstopper there. Muffin, a double kill for her. One with util, one with a gun. But she's looking for another one. Has to back off though. Lockdown will keep her in check. Buys herself some space and a second chance, a second shot at this. Emmy though, getting aggressive. She has to. She knows in this position, they're gonna want to play close. Trailblazer clears her out, and Baby TZ off the spam gets it too. Showstopper all around, and Muffin takes her down with her. A triple for her, and Full Sense 8 at the half.
What a recovery from Full Sense Sapphire. One player within the site, but they still, like, their retakes have been so brilliantly done, Sapphire. I mean, look at this. Polly, try as she might, she doesn't even get one, but this nade coming in from Muffin just denies the showstopper. And oh, she did so much work. The diligence to clear the smoke as well. A fantastic half coming in from Full Sense, but we'll see what the panel has to say for this one, because it's going to be a tough one for OGX to come back.
Thanks, guys. Tough one for OGX to come back indeed. 8 and 4 for Full Sense Sapphire, as Golden mentioned, playing that retake very smart. Raph, what do we think about the first half?
To be honest with you, I really like the approach from both sides here. Very, very tempered, although I do see a little more impatience on the side of Orangutan. It does feel like they're getting, as I mentioned, right, antsy, that they want that control almost immediately. Some of these side hits feel a little too overcommitted, especially with the resources they have. Although we do see some crafty fakes. We saw that one round where the double Viper walls were actually stacking onto each other. I think it was Full Sense making the call that it was going to be a B hit, but once again, Orangutan kind of flexing their creativity, re-hitting that A site and getting a lot of success. But what I do find a little peculiar is that Full Sense is actually outclassing Orangutan in the retake game, which is a very rare sight here on Game Changers.
Yep, plus Full Sense, I mean, they've got the 8-4 lead starting out on defense on Lotus. So going through the swap, how do we think that this is going to play out, especially the fact that they're playing the mirror matchup?
Well, as long as Full Sense keep to themselves and play within their box, I think they're going to be a very, very dangerous opponent. They had some small, I would say, habitual things that they were displaying on Haven. One is to just kind of avoid the choke fight directly and go send a player that honestly shouldn't even be frontlining to begin with, but we will see more of that as we jump into the half.
All right, we'll see if Full Sense can full send this map to victory. Gentlemen, back over to you.
Well, Full Sense has certainly kind of set the pace here for map number 3. Early in the opening half, 8-4 on the defense is one to be, I guess, kind of threatened by if you are an Orangutan fan, but I think there's still a chance here. We saw Orangutan were pretty good on their defensive retakes on a map like Haven, and maybe they can string some of that success here on the second half.
I'd like to see how these Viper walls are going to be situated differently. I think it's pretty standard from both teams so far. There's really just the vertical one and the horizontal one towards A main as a defender. But A main's not the port of call today. All of the full, well, 3 of the Full Sense players towards towards the C side as well, the spike. And they're gonna see if Polly can find any opening frag, right? That will change things massively, but Casper's actually the one to find the opening and accelerating into the seaside as the call.
Oh, Emmy on the trade as well, on the swing there. 4v3. And Orangutan looking and poised to win a pistol here. Try and start to bring this game on back full sense. Dissuaded by the mere presence of Orangutan on C.
The Trailblazers, a bunch of info. They know that Mound is completely clear and the rotations can come in now. Casper gets spotted out. Can she survive though? The teleport and ooh, just around the corner. She manages to B-hop away. Twirly spots out a couple of players and they're going to be taking this duel towards the B side. Yes, there they go. Rotating in. The mid-round calls. Dynamic, fluid.
Very decisive the way that they're playing right now. Oh no, the whiff! She could have denied the plant there. Flash on up. Baby TZ a lot too close for Japips to deal with. Margot, last one left alive. And in the end, the defense still comes out on top. Emmy with a third. And OGX respond with an opening pistol here in the second half.
Ooh, that was a very risky situation, but still, right, because of the kills that OGX actually found earlier on in the round, it allowed them to have a advantageous retake situation. Japips, despite not getting the kill in this situation, the trades were there, the flank coming in from B-Man, you can see Aruma catching onto that second last player. And yeah, despite a nice mid-round call to rotate from C to A and then to B, just the man disadvantage was a bit too much to swallow. But this time, 4 players on OGX pushing the A main position.
Yeah, they tried all options, but none of them, I assume, would have led to a better result there. OGX early on pushing up once again towards his A main position. We see lots of teams really want to fight for that A main. Information gained here by Japips on towards B. That's both of her flashes burnt though, but it's enough to send full sense into trying another option, which seems to be A. So it's going to be Casper this time around to make first contact once again.
Got it. Also back up this wall. Great to isolate these duels. Decayed. Damage done, but Nate actually gonna catch onto Baby TZ. A couple of kills go back and forth. This is 3 versus 3. There's weapons on the ground to be recovered. Actually, seems like a doable round coming in from Sapphire. The call for a pause in the action now puts doubts in the minds of OGX. Where could they be? All 3 players responsible for one side of their own. Yeah, and that gives the advantage to Sapphire. Now they can swarm over one of the sites.
Yeah. You can see on the minimap too, they're pinging here towards this stairs. Emmy unsure if it's a B site hit or it's going to come towards A, but now they know. That's a confirmation they needed, and you can expect them to get aggressive. The upper is what they leave open in this case. They want to fight for that CT. That's where the plant is for. That's where the smoke is for as well. They have a paranoia to engage. Aruma on the swing. Polly on the trade. That's wall bangable, by the way, here by Emmy, and she's going for the attempt. The spike right around the corner. They only have these pistols to work with. They haven't retrieved that dropped weapon just yet. They can deny the plant for the meantime with a snake bite, but when that's gone, they've got nothing else. Look at the wraparound here.
Last player standing.
Oh no! Rushing it a bit too much, and that should have been it for Margot. Maybe she thought that Polly, rather Emmy, spotted her out in the corner of her eye and kind of rushed it there, but if she was able to creep up closer, right click to end it all, that could have been it. Still a nice attempt.
So close.
Could have been closer, yeah.
It was a nice attempt though. They got the spike down. It really hurt the economy of OGX. They don't have a lot of players standing. I think the armor was broken on a couple of the remaining players as well. So nonetheless, it's a decent eco round coming in from them. They will be coming in with a full buy this time. Sapphire aiming to win it cleanly, right? They only have two rifle SMGs and LMG on their side of OGX. Should be a pretty clean situation for Full Sense Sapphire, but as we know, OGX not going to be relenting whatsoever. Pressure on both sides of the mound.
They're really fighting for it here. That paranoia sends Full Send back to trying to try again, perhaps, and not just press W and take control of mound early. But because they cut the noise, because they pull back, Orangutan now unsure of the plans here, full sense. They've kind of pushed away from the door as well, so they aren't ready to jump in behind him as they once were a while ago. It's going to have to rely down here onto Japips and Twirly to make something of the seaside hold. Execute now here. Twirly good for the one. She gets a second. That's good before she's eventually taken on down, and they come out of it on top in the 3v4 for the retake.
It's gonna be pretty difficult. You have the man advantage, but you still don't have the best weaponry. Casper
Player standing.
around the corner. In 1 versus 2, Emmy now left alone. A low HP on both of the players.
Yeah. Now is going to keep her off of it for the meantime. Emmy trying to push forward, trying to sliver her way through. She's actually got great timing on this, in great position. Good for the one. Could not transfer over. But that was a bonus here, Cold, and
Yeah.
that was really nicely done. They got almost everybody down. The plant was stuck, sure, but considering what they came in there with, one single Spectre and an Ares and a bunch of pistols,
Player standing.
I think it's a great round, all things considered.
Oh yeah, fantastic. If I was them, I'd be saying that as a win. 1 kill away from securing the round. Look at the economy, all on light armor. So, a dink on the head for most of the guns, even a Phantom. They're gonna have some reservation in terms of utility as well. Have the Killjoy lockdown though. Baby TZ can use that in multiple positions, but it's a 3-man push towards B. Baby TZ finds first frag, but gets taken down immediately. But that's the call, right? They know that 2 players have pushed out B. Let's accelerate towards the C site. Aruma
Grenade out.
doesn't spot a single player. Position will get spotted out though, so she can't go for anything cheeky. The
Quick pack
showstopper
on in here. Oh, no way. It doesn't even get set off. Polly able to spam through. A second one for Polly. And full sense this time around. They have their senses up alive. They know what's to come. They expect every single movement here from Orangutan. Every swing, every branch, and every tree. Checked and cleared. Full sense. Looking to get their 10th.
Say a bit of impatience, right? Using the showstopper through the Viper's poison orb. A bit questionable, a bit too trigger happy, I would say. Could have gone for a nice retake attempt from OGX. We know how good they can be on those retakes. But again, look at this. Vulnerable through the Viper's orb. 1 bullet is all it took. And
Yeah.
Polly just standing her ground, just decimates them.
Just way too low to do anything there. And way too cut dry. Orangutan. This is akin to what we saw during map number 1, where full sense and Orangutan closer first half, but then when it came to it in the second, full sense just pulled away on that fracture map, and it's happening once more to Orangutan here, who just haven't been able to keep up to the pace and the steam and the longevity with the stamina that full sense have.
This timeout, I think a much needed one. You gotta discuss what you want to do now, right? Full Sense Sapphire 2 rounds away from reaching map point. They don't have the best economy. They can't go for a full buy, but they have the Viper's Pit. Right? Do you want to, gamble a little bit, put the Viper's Pit down, stay within it as Emmy, and then kind of try to work around that? Or do you want to save this Viper's Pit for an actual gun round? I think that's the question that OGX are asking themselves, because they give this round up. That's 11 for Full Sense Sapphire. They just need 1 more to secure at least an overtime affair. And Baby TZ has her lockdown as well. Muffin's one of hers. Polly's one of the Viper's Pit as well. So if they delay things a little bit more, Full Sense Sapphire could get on a roll with a bunch of scary, scary ultimates.
See.
Viper's Pit.
Can't keep the ball rolling in the first place. Yeah, Viper's Pit here. Bucky, of all things, as it is a lower economic state here for the rest of Orangutan.
I'm loving this if I'm Full Sense Sapphire. I baited out a Viper's Pit just off, 1 or 2 pieces of utility, a Sky Flash, a bit of presence, taking the orb, that's it. The Viper's Pit, they can just completely ignore it.
Yeah. Just nullify it from having any effect in the round. Although arguably, sending them towards another site is exactly what they would want to do in this case. They clear out B-Link, clear out the most of this site, and yeah, they gain control of upper as well. I want to see if Orangutan are gonna go directly for the link, and in this case, that they do.
This is great positioning. Like, the problem with B sides is that you don't have space, but now they have heaven control. And they have the Killjoy locked on as well. They're securing this with a bow. One by one, they fall into the favor. There's a couple of frags actually from the OGX side. I don't think they're gonna find too much more. This post-plant utility is suffocating.
Yeah. Not letting anybody even get too close. Ah, Emmy checks the wrong corner. The one she wanted, but the one that they were actually at. Your peeps could maybe save a rifle here, maybe get a pick off of it. I think she's trying to hunt Muffin down, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. They get the round in full sense. Quick and clean on towards that site. As he said, baited out that utility towards C, then wrapped around towards B.
They did a decent job of bringing it slightly close, but you know, it was a bit futile at the end of the day. They still lost the round, and the economy, well, if they lose this one, it's almost a guaranteed 13th for Sapphire, right? This is where it all matters. They need to win this round. If not, they're put down on an eco yet again. Aruma, one off that Killjoy lockdown. That's an important factor. That could be very useful in a retake scenario. But she has to either get a kill or find an out orb. And as a defender Killjoy, that's not the easiest thing to do.
Well, they've got the Viper's Pit of their own now for the post plant here in Poly. And this C site is one that is pretty susceptible to utilizing that strongly. Muffin, oh, she's swarmed here.
Oh my
Could not even find free space and just completely dies solely to those nano swarms. I don't think that's where she was expecting to be able to go with her blast pack, and that puts full sense now away from what they wanted to do. Spike is in the control of OGX.
One misplaced blast pack actually cost them the round. Muffin actually wanted to route towards the water side, towards elbow of C side, but ended up bumping herself into the Killjoy nanoswarms and being vulnerable as well. That Molly does a lot of damage. This time around though, the spike is lost within the C side. Every single player of OGX just standing atop of it, like a mother hen watching over her egg. And there's literally no entry whatsoever. 20 seconds on the clock. I would say they could just go for a save on this one. But with so much cash, they might as well give it a try. Oh, actually the kills go down to a 1 versus 1.
She actually has a chance here to win this. Jenny!
What?
Off the swing! Bringing some magic. You rub the lamp, the genie comes out, and she takes match point off of it. Full sense. What a recovery here in a 3v5. Spike away from him, and they still get the round.
It was a massive fumble at the start. 2 frags. Instantly, they got topped up, healed up by the sky as well. A 3 versus 4 without the spike, with no time left on the clock. They make it work. What a beautiful routing.
Do it too late in the round.
Yeah, waterfall. They went all the way around and actually sort of came in as a split. Because OGX were all committed towards the spike itself, they didn't have the advanced notification or information. This time, Envy gonna be catching onto Polly. Baby TZ finds that nice trade frag, so that's the A site. Open up for the taking.
Cover going out.
It's all the effort in vain. OGX. Another retake called for.
Spike line down, aggressive push here from Baby TZ. She pushes up forward there to catch off the rotate, and now they have the advantage. They got these Seekers as well to clear out the immediate. They know Muffin is close, but will they expect a paranoia play here from Muffin? Rather from Margot. Allows her to drop down safely though, and with this retake now looking even more problematic. Full sense, they're poised to close this game right here, right now. Japipso going big, a triple for Baby TZ. It's all on the Japips right now, one of the vets of Orangutan. But Ginny once more delivers the final one of the round, and that is Full Sense Sapphire finding all the gems to close out the series 2-1.
Full Sense Sapphire are your first team in the upper finals. They stand a chance to get into the grand finals by just 1 more best of 3. A fantastic showing from them. They started out great. It was a fantastic first map. on Fracture, they really showed their prowess on there. But OGX, right, they fought back on Haven, they showed them who's boss, but on the map of Lotus, Sapphire just really showing their knowledge. Despite the efforts from OGX, time and time again, Full Sense Sapphire that retakes the coordination on point, the gunplay even better.
Well, that definitely puts Full Sense in a great spot right now into the upper bracket final, where they're gonna have to go up against Team SMG, who are looking like such a titan of a team. They just ended their own series on the other side of the bracket versus GE versus Global, and in what a fashion too. But I think that this team here that we just saw right now in Sapphire have definitely proven that they can stand toe-to-toe with anybody. And if they're somehow able to make it through this upper bracket into the grand final, who knows, they might just run it back. But for the meantime, that is it for this first series. We will see you guys in a bit. It is our panel who's going to take things away.
Thanks, gentlemen. Full Sense of Sapphire bagging that revenge rematch against SMG for tomorrow in a pretty dang convincing fashion, we gotta say. Only let OGX get 2 rounds after the half as well. OGX, unfortunately, of course, will be falling to the lower bracket, where they will have to face the possibility of elimination. And whew, I mean, how do we feel about that second half, Raf?
Oh man, it just felt so difficult on the side of OGX. Again, there were times where it would look like OGX were funneling FSS to where they wanted to take the fights. But when it came down to it, and when Ginny just started rampaging, it just became so oppressive. And I just really feel like FSS have really stuck true with their game plan. Hey, let's slow it down. Let's just find some small weaknesses. Let's just keep poking and prodding, find out how they react to some certain things, some certain utility, and let's just play off of that. And they did a masterclass on that poking game per se. Meanwhile, OGX just stepped behind in adjusting, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of one of those points where you're really seeing the differences in terms of teams. Like when you have that mirror matchup, I think it becomes more obvious just the way that these two teams play out the exact same composition. This time around, OGX just unfortunately falling a bit short and not quite finding as much success as Full Sense of Sapphire this time around. But I mean, playoffs, it's 5 days, right? And you gotta think we've got such a packed, condensed schedule. I mean, I'm just a bit worried for the OGX girls about how much they can go back to the drawing board and prep those strats for tomorrow.
That's true. And again, that's just the nature of competition. You know, you don't have a lot of time to really lick your wounds and reassess how these teams approach the game and whatnot. But again, there was just really insane rounds like this where Ginny just did not allow any leaks towards the site, any players to oppose the retake. And I gotta say, I'm really excited for their match against SMG. But the problem is, you talked about data gathering. What data can you really gather from SMG? Oh, they ran 5 duelists. Oh, they ran 5 of this role, 5 of that. So if you really want to go the more scientific route, I'm really wondering how Full Sense is going to prepare for that.
Yeah, but I mean, oh, that was nice.
Well, there were moments like this too where, like, oh yeah, the flash would have been really nice, and I feel like everything on the side of OGX should have worked. It's one of those moments, right? Oh, that should have worked. Oh, that was the correct call. Oh, that was the proper set play for this type of situation. But again, Ginny, just an absolute bully. Just really saying no. No, you can't do that. No, you won't take this away from me. And how proper it is for Ginny to be our MVP, Ray Richu.
Yeah, I mean, I love this girl. I think last year also, I'm pretty sure we had that little like short documentary video of like Ginny and her history and FPS for all these years up until now. And I mean, I remember when she first joined Game Changers as well. There was just so much talk, so much news about it. We all thought like, holy cow, there's this crazy mechanically skilled girl coming into Game Changers. And then I think really swiftly on, she just decided to, take that supportive role, take that step back, and just with that crazy game sense and being able to like IGL that she has, I think like she started off really playing that Sova. It's great that she's finding so much success on agents such as a Sky as well, but damn, you'll love to see it.
Absolutely. And another thing that I really appreciate about Ginny is that when you look at how she plays, it's shades of all the roles that she's gone through. When she's out there in open space, it's her duelist really, her duelist self coming out to relay the footwork. And if it's anything supportive, then she still has that in the bag.
Yep, but guys, we do have a special treat in store for everyone. I believe we do have an interview with none other than Japeeps from OGX. Japeeps, hi! Oh my god, you've got a teammate in the back! Oh, we can't hear you. Can you unmute? On VMix or Discord? I think it's your VMix mic. We'll get it sorted out.
Is that Twirly in the background just ready to trade frag already? Like if Jenny says the wrong question, she's just gonna swing out.
What?
No,
Hey.
Jenny, no.
What if it's your question? Hey, what the hell, Raph? Okay, bear with us, guys, while we get those tech issues sorted out. I think it's like a VMix thing. We had it working just now, so shouldn't take all that long. But I'm super excited to finally get to talk to what we have always called here on the desk one of the OG members. So I'm
That
pretty
is true.
excited to finally be able to ask her some stuff.
Yeah, and I'm really excited what again OG still have cooking. Again, this is the most resilient team in the whole league.
I'm not sure how much they can tell us about what they got cooking, but we can try. We'll try to ask her. And if she starts actually leaking strats, I'm gonna cut her off because I don't want that for her and her team, So you better
Absolutely.
not bait her. Oh, did we get her? Peeps. Is she back?
I think so.
I heard it on Discord. Well, I heard someone come back on Discord.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna jump into the interview here very, very soon. Actually, by very soon, I mean right now. There they
Yes.
are.
Can you guys hear me now?
We're back.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
We can hear you great. Hello, Japeeps. Thanks so much
Hello.
for the interview with both of you. The first question that I wanted to ask you, of course, is that thank you for accepting this interview after what must be a very long series. I think here on the desk we always call you and Casper affectionately one of the OG members because you guys have been with Orangutan for so long. Can you talk to us a bit about the roster changes that went on in between Open 1 and Open 2 and just why you guys decided to bring in 3 new members of the team?
I don't know. I think it's just that we knew we needed the roster changes. My teammates are here.
Oh, I feel like the whole team should just jump in the call. Honestly, like just summon the
Give them
squad.
mics.
Yeah.
Yay! Team Cam!
But I don't know much about it and I'm not sure. It's just that we knew we needed a roster change. That's it.
Yeah, what sort of challenges did you guys face when you first started to scrim together as this new roster? Or was it smooth sailing from the get-go? Was it easy or was it maybe a bit harder? How was it?
It's a bit hard since like the language barrier are there and like there's almost 3 players new. So it's like still up and down for us, even this open 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Talking more about this Open 2, what are the plans or like the goals for your team? Because Open 1, the team had such a good run. So coming into Open 2, what are the expectations?
I mean, we expect the same, but uh yeah, we lost this this game, but I think we can dominate the lower bracket. I hope so.
Mm.
We can go face
Yeah.
SMG grand final.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's what we're all hoping to see. Japeeps, thank you so much for
Oh.
the interview. Raf,
I actually have one question. Japips, last open you were known for your knife kills. Who do you want to knife the most? I really
Oh my
want to know,
God.
who do you want to knife the most?
We started beef.
Yeah.
Uh,
So who is it?
Alexei,
Oh my
let's fight the knife kill.
Oh my God.
Let's see who
I
got the
love
longest knife.
Nice.
you.
All right. Well, I'm sure we're all looking forward to that 1v1 with you and Alexi facing off with that knife. But thank you so much,
Thank
Japeeps.
you.
Rest well tonight and good luck tomorrow in the lower bracket. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
I love how, like, she had zero hesitation. You're like, who do you want to knife the most? And she was
Of course.
like, Alexi. Like, she could not have answered that any faster. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just really happy too that OGX, despite everything today, they're still in high spirits and they are ready to come back for round 2 and just dominate the lower bracket as they mentioned.
Yep, I'm definitely looking forward to see that. I mean, we didn't really think that we would see them drop down to the lower bracket this soon, but they're such a strong team. So, I mean, I can't wait to see these girls back tomorrow. But you know what else we can't wait for, guys? It's going to be the second series of the day between Point of Authority Blossom going up against the Hero KDA. But right after this break.
Show me what you got. Back that up, back that up. 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 Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God. Ain't no reason to back down, so step it up, God, down,